Good morning, Raptor freaks. Lexiot's here. It's Sunday morning. The Raptors, well, it's not the Raptors. Scotty Barnes participated in the All Star Saturday night last night and was the best shooter in the skills competition. That's right, he was. You look at who he was in that skills competition with, and he was statistically the best shooter in the shooting part, the last part. Seriously, that's why his team won. Is because of him. As far as with the shooting part, they didn't win the whole thing. This All-Star Saturday night is so convoluted, so cheesy. You know, we got repeat winners from last year. In some ways, that's boring, Adam Silver. In some ways, you know what? I know what you're doing, man. You're setting it up for people to win because you put them last in the competition. It's an extremely good advantage to go last on competitions that you are blind to. Making Scrabble moves, blind to, because the first person is the guinea pig. And Scotty's team had to do every competition last night in the skills competition first. And they were doing them blind. Like that floor was new with the interaction of it. They didn't really utilize the floor very well last night. The LED floor was used better on Friday night. It was much more interesting or exciting the way they were using it in the celebrity game. And the skills and the 3-point shootout and the dunk competition, they really choked on like using the LED floor well. The designs or whatever programs they put in the computer for it to show were poor, if you ask me. They were very generic, not very much change. It wasn't very exciting or flashy. In some ways, the star of this All-Star weekend is that LED floor, Adam Silver. Well, y'all dropped the ball on Saturday night. That may have been one of the most boring, lamest Saturday nights, just like last year's. In fact, I was like comparing it to last year's, and I'm like, you know what? Mac McClung winning last year was way more exciting than Mac McClung winning again this year. And I'm like, that shows a downgrade right there. That the magic of Mac McClung was not present this year like it was last year. So that's instantly a downgrade. Then it's like, look, y'all are kind of dumb, aren't you, NBA? Why would you not just let all four of the shooters in the 3-point competition just do the final round? Why do you have to do this weird tiebreaker round in the middle? I think you spend just as much time doing that tiebreaker round, maybe more time, than just allowing all four of the guys who made it the tie score to just go to the final round. It's like, hello, logic. Why do a little tiebreaker round in between when you're going to have all them shoot anyway? Why don't you just let all four of them shoot in the last round and see who wins then? It's like, stupid. Hello, stupid. It's so dumb. The NBA is dumb. It's fixed. It's rigged. They write storylines on the All-Star weekend. They can't even let these All-Star competitions be open to be competitive and just like pure competition and the best person win. No, they have to rig it. They got to rig the All-Star weekend too, not just their NBA games. They got to rig their All-Star activities also. It's fishy, fishy, fishy. Indiana winning all this stuff, and then the repeat of the champions from last year. It's so dumb. It is so dumb. Oh my gosh. It was like, why am I watching this? It's really how I felt last night. I'm like, why am I watching this? Like, I watched the Scotty stuff. I enjoyed that. And then for the rest of the night, I'm like, okay, why am I watching this? I don't know. The game today, it will determine whether this weekend is a success or not. If you ask me, Friday night was good. Friday night usually is pretty good. The Rising Stars Challenge may be the most fun thing about the All-Star weekend at this point. Like, it's the only thing that's actually that interesting because you got all the rookies and the young guys out there, and you get to see them kind of play it, and those games are kind of fun. But Saturday night sucks. Oh my gosh, it sucks, NBA. Y'all need to do better. I don't think it's very fair, like I said, to put Scotty's team first on all the competitions. You should have rotated who had to go first on each of the rounds. Then it would look a little more fair, Adam Silver. The fact that you let Indiana go last every single time is a complete advantage in setting up the Indiana Pacers skills competition team to win. If y'all want to write that script, why even do it? Why even have the competition? You're just going to write the script. Indiana will win the skills competition because we put them last. We're not dumb. We can tell the people that went last in all the competitions yesterday had an unfair advantage over the other person, including Sabrina and Steph Curry. And boy, you guys can't go without an all-star weekend without showing your ugly side. Last year, it was the pedophilia of Karl Malone put on parade out in Utah. Well, this year, it's the misogyny of the NBA announcers and the way they treated the shootout between Sabrina and Steph. Really, really gross. Brittany Donaldson on Instagram, or where was she? I want to find this. Where did I put this? Brittany Donaldson had a really good quote on Twitter about what happened last night and what they were saying. Y'all are misogynists, and y'all didn't even realize it. Kenny Smith, Reggie Miller, Ernie Johnson, all you TNT motherfuckers that are involved in broadcasting the Steph versus Sabrina challenge. Y'all are fucking misogynists. Yeah, y'all are like male chauvinists. The way y'all talked about Sabrina condescendingly, and then also kind of putting her down, it's messed up. It's like, listen, she's doing something brave in the first place. She's doing something that is really trailblazing. She's doing something that's important. And y'all are making jokes about like, well, she should have used the NBA ball, or she should have used the earlier distance. That's fucking insulting, is what I'm saying. The closer distance, she should have shot from WNBA. No, that's not what the point of this is, Kenny Smith and Reggie Miller, you dumb asses. Get your heads out of your asses, you male chauvinists. The way they handled the Steph and Sabrina shootout last night was cringe. Cringe, you idiots. You made yourselves look worse in that situation. Ionescu had the most grace in that situation. Ernie Johnson saying insulting things to her on the court over the live microphone, and she held it with grace. Steph Curry acting like he's winning something, and like with that belt, it was just gross and cringe. It was just gross and cringe. If y'all gonna have more WNBA versus NBA shootouts, y'all need to handle them better in the future. Let's just put it that way. Y'all's commentators need to be taught on sensitivities on this issue to not further male chauvinism and kind of patriarchy ideals about men and women that y'all are reinforcing on your stupid ass broadcast last night. Yeah, it doesn't matter who you are. You can shoot. That's the message. And y'all really didn't get that message across in a clear way. You could have, but no, you have jabronis making smart ass comments around that competition that really take away from the whole reason why they are having it. Seriously. So, yeah, get your heads out of your asses. Reggie Miller, Kenny Smith, Ernie Johnson even. Ernie Johnson looking like a dumbass in that whole situation. Yeah, a ho-hum yawn fest last night. I'm proud of our guy, Scott. He had one little miscalculation where he lost the ball at the beginning of the skills competition, but it was just worse. Losing the ball like that or not knowing where to run on the course, Paulo Banchero. Even though you've seen other people make that same mistake, you just make it yourself. Even though there's arrows pointing on the floor where you're supposed to run, these guys are still running the wrong way. Yeah, there was a lot of stupidity on the number one pick team. Those guys are dumb, honestly. Like right down to Anthony Edwards shooting the shots with the left hand. You dumbass. Why are you trying to be cute? You lost your team to the competition because you were trying to be cute shooting left-handed threes. Yeah, team number one pick, you're dumb. You're dumb. And we realize now that just because you have Wemby doesn't mean you're going to win. It's like they put Wemby in these events this weekend. He failed left and right. Man, NBA, y'all are, man. You guys got to stop trying to manufacture the storylines. That's what I'm basically going to say. If Malik Beasley's going to win the three-point shootout, let him win the three-point shootout. If something weird like Obi Toppin's brother Jacob is going to win the dunk competition, let him win the dunk competition. I mean, you had Fred Jones sitting there as one of the judges in the dunk competition. It's not like he was a flashy dunk competitor. Y'all need to stop writing storylines like the pro wrestling, and just let these competitions happen the way they're supposed to. It really wasn't fair. You see what happened in the skills competition with the passing part where Indiana got to go last. And in the middle of the broadcast, Reggie Miller said, well, why don't they just all throw it on the 6-point target? They'll win that way. And what do you know? Indiana does that exact stupid thing to do to game that game and make it like really kind of dumb. It's like that game's broken already. You're passing with your zones 6, 4, and 2. Nobody's going to be able to do that ever again because the Indiana Pacers figured it out and they broke that game. Why even have the 2 at the end? I was looking at the score in the first round. I'm like, Scotty's got way less passing than the other guys. I'm like, well, the points. Well, it's because he was only passing to the 2-pointer for most of the time. So his total didn't look as big as the other guys because he was very much over centered on the 2-point scoring goal only. Meanwhile, the Pacers in the last round just ignored that portal and just threw it through the 6 and the 4 over and over again repeatedly. Yeah, they broke that game already, NBA. Y'all need to talk to Survivor about how to make challenges and challenges that don't get broke with strategy like, oh, just do this. Yeah, that was dumb. That's dumb. And you see how fixed and bullshit that is. Okay, yeah, we'll just all throw it through the 6 portal and get 6 points over and over again. It's not like their passing was better than Scotty's team. It's just that they had that stupid strategy and broke the game. Seriously. I mean, the passing between Trae Young, Tyrese Maxey, and Scotty Barnes on that second go around on that was phenomenal. Scotty doing things like grabbing 2 balls at once, taking one ball and launching it with one hand, and then having a second ball to throw after that. Brilliant. And showing the acumen. And people were saying, look at Scotty. Look at Scotty. Look at the way Scotty's passing the ball. Look at the way Scotty's throwing the ball with one hand. You know, and then in the shooting competition, they're like watching, oh, look at the way Scotty's shooting. Look at the way Scotty's making all these shots. Wow, Scott's really impressing me on this. You know, yeah, Scotty looked real good last night. Good job, Scotty, representing the Toronto Raptors at All-Star Saturday night last night. You did fantastic, other than the little dribble turnover on the course. But you know what? It didn't hurt your time as bad as those guys who ran the wrong way. And there were like 3 of them. 3 of y'all made the same mistake, you idiots. Like, yeah, what's going on up here with Paulo Banchero? I'm wondering how much of this is up here is like turning very quickly is what I'm wondering with Paulo Banchero today. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting stuff. All-Star Saturday night. Let's see what y'all are saying. Of course, we have more events today. The big enchilada, the All-Star game. And we'll have to see, the other events. Let me see real quick. They are having an NBA Legends brunch at 11 a.m. this morning. So I'm guessing you'll see Dr. J, Oscar Robertson, Shaquille O'Neal, those guys all sitting around eating some toast is what you might see there. 1:30 p.m. today, this is the G League Up Next game presented by AT&T. That's the event that Marquise Noel is supposed to be participating in. It's unfortunate that he will not be involved because honestly, that's our dude. We love you, man, Marquise. And it's just really sad and sucks that he will not be in this game. So, yeah, I feel bad about it. They've got replacements already. It's too bad. Let me see. Which team was he going to be on? He was going to be on Team Strictly, and he is replaced by Isaiah Wong. So, yeah, Isaiah Wong of the Indiana Mad Ants is going to be in Marquise's place on the team. There's also a G League Slam Dunk that's going to be going on. It went yesterday. It happened yesterday. I don't know who won that. They had that already yesterday. So, yeah, that's too bad about Marquise not being able to make it to he was the 6th vote getter out of all the G League Up Next guys. He got the 6th most votes. Yeah, that's too bad. That's too bad you won't be able to play. And then, of course, after the G League Up Next game, 8 o'clock, 73rd NBA All-Star game, East versus West. And I've got our ref report for that game. It's interesting when you do the ref report for the All-Star game because the All-Star refs are the ones that are supposedly getting rewarded for a very good job this season. That's what they do with like finals, playoff assignments. You get assigned for important things around the NBA. They're rewards. So whoever's reffing the All-Star game are considered some of the best referees in the NBA, and they're getting rewarded for their good work this season. And these are the 3 refs for East versus West today at 8 o'clock at Indiana. These are the 3 refs. Crew chief is Tony Brothers, y'all. Tony Brothers is the creme de la creme crew chief in the NBA this year. I won't disagree. 30 seasons out of Norfolk, Virginia. Yeah, we like our fried croakers lover, Tony Brothers, he will be out there. The one thing I will say about Tony Brothers being the crew chief of the All-Star game is he's a friend of Scott's. Seriously, like he's looked out for Scotty already in his young career. I can tell already that Tony Brothers is nice to Scotty Barnes. So who knows? Not that it matters. It's the All-Star game about the whistle or anything like that. But at least Scotty has a friendly ref as the crew chief out there for the All-Star game tonight. Now, a lot of it, as I said yesterday, is going to be dependent on Doc Rivers giving time to Scott getting out on the court. And as an injury replacement, that's not always the case. So I hope that Scotty gets to play an ample amount of time on the court tonight. We'll see. We may even judge how we feel about the game on how much he plays tonight. I know I will to a degree. The other two refs for the All-Star game today, second ref is Josh Tiven. He's in his 14th season out of Norwich, Connecticut. He's a Seinfeld lover. And Josh Tiven's not a bad guy. We've had Josh Tiven for quite a few of our games this season. We've really done badly this year. So it's not really an indication of Josh Tiven as a ref that we haven't done well in games that he's been reffing this year. The third ref is Derek Collins. And I was surprised by this. Derek Collins has been reffing for a while, 23 seasons out of New Orleans. He is actually the third ref. He's the angry ref. The guy I always say he looks angry on the court. But yeah, Derek Collins is the third ref. Interesting enough, they've had a lot of ref interviews on the NBA Refs Twitter account recently. A lot of it centering around refs that went to historically black colleges in honor of February and Black History Month. And listening to these refs talk, I'm going to tell y'all, my work with the Ref Report and studying the NBA refs has made me like the refs better over time. I used to not like the refs in general, but I've learned to like certain refs and their personalities and getting to know each individual one. And listening to them talk and hearing their voices and how they say stuff has humanized them and made me think they're more likable. It's weird. It's so weird. Like they really do have their own personalities, and they're all very different in different ways from what I've discovered in researching the NBA refs. So I don't know. It's weird. In some ways, I realize the NBA is still very crooked and they do write storylines and a lot of stuff is fixed. But I am seeing I have more of an affinity for some of the refs at this point. And I do also agree that their job is one of the hardest jobs in all of sports to be an NBA referee for sure. It's not easy. But yeah, I'm understanding your job more and more as the years go on, and also who you guys are and ladies. And yeah, we're judging accordingly. Trust me, we are. We're keeping things accountable, is what we're trying to do. Oversight. That's what I'm saying. All right, let me see what y'all are saying this morning. Dana's here first. Canadian Dana, good morning, everyone. I can't wait for the All-Star weekend to be done. I will probably watch a bit of the game, but I will just record it. It's so boring to watch. And being old, I'm giving. Being bold, I'm giving. I'm not sure exactly what you mean there. Oh, she's being bold. I'm giving Adam Silver my 2-finger salute. Thanks for ruining the league, you bitch. Wow, Dana. Yeah, I don't know. Adam Silver may have had a hand in partly ruining this league for sure. I won't disagree with you, but yeah, I like your new segment, the 2-finger salute. It's so cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they have today to make up for it. If we see the NBA All-Star game competitive and enjoyable and entertaining, maybe this weekend's salvageable. I mean, I'm gauging it against last year's debacle in Utah and how bad it was last year. Well, I would say this. I feel like Friday night beat last year's Friday night, but Saturday night did not. So if this if Indiana's All-Star weekend is going to beat Utah's All-Star weekend, they have to have a good All-Star game today. And a lot of that's dependent on the players playing at a serious level of some sort at some point. If these guys aren't, and it's going to be kind of like half-ass, casual, ugly-ass all-star games like recently, well, then this weekend's a failure, just like last year's was. That's really how I'm looking at it right now. Yeah. Chris is saying, I was busy, but watched the highlights. I thought it was still fun. Mac jumping 4.5 feet in the air. People are spoiled if they think it's boring. Laugh out loud. S versus S shootout was great. It's for kids anyway. Yeah, it's a really good like glass barrier. Honestly, it's a historic moment, honestly. And they didn't treat that moment with the kind of gravity. They really treated too jokey. That this is a very important moment that happened last night with Steph versus Sabrina. And I think that the NBA didn't treat it with the accordance that they should have, the dignity that they should have, honestly. I like the idea of them doing future contests where they have WNBA champions of 3-point shooting come and compete. And they also alluded to the fact that they'll have a rematch between Steph and Sabrina at the WNBA All Star Weekend, where they have Steph on their territory of things. And we'll see. Who knows? Maybe Sabrina goes last in that competition. Because everybody who goes last has the advantage in all the competitions. Did you notice that in all 4 of the events yesterday, the person who went last won every single one of those events? Team Indiana. Mac McClung went after Jaylen Brown. Dame Lillard went last in the 3-point shootout. Steph Curry went last in the little shootout. Like you can rig things. It's so obvious. Like if you do things a certain way in wrestling, we can tell when it's rigged. And well, letting people go last and them winning, well, that's too much of an advantage. Y'all need to shake it up. Y'all need at least to shake it up in the skills competition where each team got rotated on the order of who had to go into each competition. Because if you really think about it, Scotty's team had a very unfair disadvantage compared to the other teams, and Indiana had a really good advantage because they had guinea pigs ahead of them to do the competitions, and they could see their techniques and they could change and adjust to them on all the different rounds. Now, if you had it rotating where the number 1 picks got to go first one round and Pacers went first in the last round, that would have been way more fair, NBA. And it would have looked like a real competition that wasn't fixed for the home team to get a good feeling because their 3 Indiana Pacers won the competition. Seriously, y'all rig this shit. Whoever goes last wins is how I look at it. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam. At Dana and Chris, and happy Sunday. I enjoyed watching the skills challenge. Scotty did good. Sabrina Ionescu could have actually competed with the men. Amazing. Curry beating them. Yeah, Curry is the top dog, all the best. I mean, well, obviously, he should be the 3-point shootout champion right now. Dame Lillard, you suck. Steph Curry's the 3-point shootout champion right now. He beat your score, motherfucker. That's what I'm saying. I was like, look, why weren't they? I don't understand why she wasn't in the 3-point shootout. That's what I thought they were going to do, is like put her in there with the whole field and just let her compete against them. Forget about this Steph versus Sabrina. I get it. In some ways, there's a history with her as a 10-year-old little girl interacting with Steph Curry as a Warriors fan and all the pictures and like she her hero. Now she's playing against him in this shootout. That's cool. That's a fairy tale story. But in some ways, I think that we should get to the point where, because this competition is the kind of competition where you could have the men and the women competing and it's fair. And stop talking about the size of the balls. Stop talking about where the line is. These women want to shoot on the same regulations. And that's part of the thing. It's like, look, you motherfuckers that want her to shoot at the WNBA 3-point line or with the WNBA balls are in some ways they did use the WNBA balls, but in some ways they should use everything the same as the men. Because honestly, every little difference that you use between the men and the women is an excuse either way. Like in some ways, like I don't know if the fragile male ego was ready to lose to Sabrina last night. In some ways, it was rigged for men. Men gotta win. Seriously, the NBA in some ways is a status quo setter. They had a huge part in setting up the pandemic. And in some ways, the NBA likes to set up status quo, just like Fathers Knows Best in the 50s as a TV show. It's like, oh, this is family life. This is this. Instead of being progressive and stuff like that, y'all really kind of aren't. You're kind of holding the line of the way it has been and will be. I'm not a fragile male guy who's like worried about women taking over or beating me. I'm not worried about that. In fact, I want women to have an equal playing field and be able to compete. And I love the idea of Sabrina being in the 3-point shootout with all the same parameters as the men. Because if she does that, then there's no excuses. There's no bullshit. And if she beats them, she beat them. Because if she beat them and she used the WNBA ball or did the WNBA line, y'all would say, oh, well, she had an easier time because she had the smaller ball or the closer line. That's what I'm saying. That's why the ladies need to compete at the same parameters as the men. And it's really insulting in some ways how the NBA handled that shootout last night. Seriously, insulting to women. That's what I'm saying right now. Yeah, some people may not agree with me. Some people would be like, whoa, Lex, you're overreacting. Nah. And it's evident in the tweet that Brittany Donaldson sent out last night on Twitter. Let me read this real quick because it's exactly right. Exactly right. Brittany Donaldson, the former assistant coach of the Toronto Raptors, who's now with the Atlanta Hawks, I believe. Or no, she's with Detroit at this point, I think. Let me see. Where is she? Where are you, Brittany? I want to read your. That's not how you spell her name, Lex. All right, there she is. This is what she said. I want to make sure I quote it exactly right. Sabrina hitting the exact score that Dame won with, losing to Steph, and the immediate commentary being, well, she should have shot from the women's line, pretty much sums up our experience, if y'all are wondering. Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's condescending. And honestly, if we're going to do these men and women kind of competitions, y'all need to get more educated on how you're going to commentate on it. Because y'all sound really fucking caveman, like chauvinist, the way you talk about that. In some ways, it shows the blind spot of some of the NBA announcers that they really don't get the WNBA or are fans of it because they really kind of put it down the way they talked about things last night. Seriously, it's kind of fucked up. It's kind of fucked up. What's the whole point of having this happen if you're going to make it a circus and make it her feel like, I was very feeling it like cringe when Ernie Johnson said some of the shit to Sabrina live over the mic in the middle of the court. That was very cringe. Let's just put it that way. Ernie Johnson, you're a great person. You're an amazing person, but you were saying cringe things last night and you disappointed me, honestly. Fiercely saying as well, he should have won. He would have won over Lillard. Yeah, he would absolutely have beaten Lillard. Steph Curry. Why are you fucking around, Steph? Oh, he's retired from it. He's got the highest score. He doesn't need to do it anymore. I've done it so many times. I don't need to do it. Okay, whatever. Dame Lillard's so lame. Well, he got his lame award for the year. If his whole year is a fucking dumpster fire on fire with the Bucks, at least he got his hurrah of winning the 3-point shootout. Good for you, Lillard. I was rooting for Trey. I felt like Trey was doing pretty good, and I was all about Trey. And I was kind of right. I picked the finalists. I was saying it was going to be either Trae Young or Cat or Tyrese or Lillard. Those are the favorites. Well, they were the four that were in the end, and Tyrese got eliminated. That was not for the script. Like, they were probably pissed that Tyrese Halliburton screwed up in the little tiebreaker round. That's why I was saying, NBA, you should have just put them all in the final round and not waste our time with a little tiebreaker round that was just as long as a round anyway. Like, I just don't understand, y'all. And even the dunk format is smaller now. There's very few dunks at this point. The judging of the dunk competition was actually not bad. Y'all were saying they were horrible, but they were kind of okay. I felt like Jaylen Brown did not deserve to be in the last round. I feel like his dunks were not that good. I feel like he got a bump up just because he's an all-star and he's a Celtic. You saw that one moment where he did the one dunk and the floor turned into the Boston Celtics court. Like, what the fuck is that? And y'all wondered why the Indiana crowd booed that. Y'all were saying like, oh, they're booing them. No, they were booing the Celtics court on the Indiana courts building. Seriously, they were booing everything Celtics, whatever you flash Celtics bullshit around Jalen's dunks. That's what was going on. Y'all were saying they were booing the judges. No, they were booing because you made the fucking Indiana court the Boston Garden all of a sudden. That's why they were booing. You don't realize that Indiana and Boston have history of playoff history that they hate each other for certain reasons because of the playoffs? You gonna fucking come into the Indiana arena and flash the Boston Celtics court on their court? First of all, that shows your bias for them in the first place, that you would even do that. And then you're going to try and miscalculate that, oh, they're booing because of the judges. No, they're booing because you fucking put that Shamrock court on their court. That's why they're booing. Jacob Toppin had better dunks than Jaylen Brown last night. He did. He just purely did. That one dunk he did over his brother was actually really impressive. The one he did between his legs and he flipped it on his arm, like flipped it around. That was very impressive also. He should have been in the finals with Mac McClung. The right person won. I really do believe the best dunk last night was the Mac McClung one where he paused and held the ball and then grabbed it again and dunked it over. That was the absolute best dunk last night. As the guy said, nobody's ever done that before. That's the first time I've ever seen that dunk. That was the best dunk last night. Mac McClung's little pause in the air, let it float, and then grab it again and then dunk it over his head. And then maybe the next couple of dunks were Jacob Toppin's. I don't think Mac McClung's dunk over Shaq, it was pretty impressive at the end. And sure, it won him the competition. But in some ways, all right, that one may be the second most impressive. But Toppin's dunks were next. They were. Jaime's were a mess. That stupid shit he did with the fucking hat, that was horrible. And then, Jaylen Brown really was just doing regular dunks. I mean, if we're going to get back into that graceful period where we're looking at it like Jordan and ballet and like the way they move in the air, sure, the first Jaylen dunk was pretty and it had power to it. But once again, that's not going to move the needle in dunk competitions at this point. We're at an evolved stage where the old dunk competition maybe worked then with those big names and superstars. But at this point, if you don't have some sort of gimmick or something going on, then the dunks are kind of like lame. It's just that's the way the competition's evolved. The whole left-handed glove, I understand that shit. Are you doing an homage to Michael Jackson? Like, what was up with that glove, Jaylen Brown? There were some weird like dunk things. I like that Toppin wore the shoes that his brother wore in the same dunk competition, but they were making fun of him. They're like, "Oh, the shoes. Well, it's no good if you have to tell people what it is." No, it does matter. All these motherfuckers are coming out with commemorative jerseys of friends that died and like places they played before. Well, if he's gonna wear his brother's shoes from when he did the dunk competition, that's a great story too. You fucking idiots! Why are you like getting all on Toppins like that? Honestly, Jacob Toppin got robbed. He should have been in the finals against Mac McClung, and that is just stupid favoritism. In some ways, they may have had to guarantee Jaylen. Well, if you do it, Jaylen, because we really want more superstars doing it, we'll guarantee you final round. I can't guarantee you'll win it, but we'll guarantee you final round so you won't look bad, like you're out first. I mean, they could have done that, seriously. The first dunk was very highly graded by Jaylen Brown, and I was like, what? This is what they're doing? Like, it didn't make any sense. And it's true that Hillman guy was a little bit off with his numbers. They were very stingy, but in some ways I like that about that dunk, the judges for the dunk competition. They were stingy. And it was like, look, they weren't booing the judges. They were booing the Boston court. Trust me. They were booing that Boston court. Let's see. Dana's saying at Chris, I'm not spoiled for being bored. For me, it was boring. It was boring. She's right. She's exactly right. In some ways, it's the same bullshit. It's like, it doesn't look any different. There's nothing unique about it, especially now that Mac McClung was unique last year. Well, he's definitely not unique this year, coming back the next year. And even afterwards, they asked Mac McClung, are you going to come back and try and be a 3-time dunk champion? He's like, well, I don't know. We'll see. It's like the dude's racking his brain for new dunks. It's so hard. It's like, how do you, in some ways he gave his best stuff last year. He came up with something even crazier this year. How much further can he push this? That's part of the issues here. Kurthika's looking up on TSN, looking up the stats to see if a player who has not played a single minute in the NBA has ever won the dunk competition. Because this guy has not played an NBA minute this season, Mac McClung, the NBA dunk champion. He hasn't even played in the NBA. Wait a second. Logic. Why isn't he in the G League Ignite dunk competition yesterday instead of the NBA dunk competition if he doesn't even play in the NBA? All right, let's see what else y'all are saying. Dana's saying good morning to Fiercey. And Chris is saying Sabrina really did show out. No fear, professional sniper. Dana, I just read your comment. Mine was not about your comment, but what I read online. I want to dunk again. Training, inspirational for me. He saw all that stuff and he got all juiced up to want to go dunk himself. Chris, go into training. I want to see you dunk too, man. The Chris Dunk Challenge. Let's see if he can get back to that point. I could never dunk myself. So that'd be really cool if you could do it, man. I just don't have any hops. I'm tall. I'm close. But I never really pushed that hard to try and do it when I was younger. In some ways, I didn't want to hurt myself. Chris is saying, I need to increase my vertical by 2 feet to match Max. Laugh out loud. No problem, folks. Yeah, I believe you can do that. Sure. Dude, listen, if you dunk again, that's awesome, Chris. I would love that. I would love that. No, I'm really proud of Sabrina. In some ways, I could tell that she was kind of like annoyed with some of the things they were saying around her, but she was the utmost professional. She carried herself very well. In some ways, it's kind of a fangirl thing going on with her with Steph, that she really does idolize Steph Curry. And in some ways, it's like she's got to pinch herself that she's gotten the point in her life where she's in a shootout with her idol from when she was a child. That's insane. I thought she kept it together very well, and she was very professional in that situation, honestly. Trevor's saying a report came out at the Raptors Amon teams to draft. Oh, wait. Okay. Yeah, you read this in. I can tell. A report came out that the Raptors are among teams to draft Bronny James because he is not in the top pick. What do you think of that? Okay, so there's a report out that's saying that the Raptors are among the teams that may draft Bronny James. That is what you're saying, Trevor. Well, if that's what Masai and Bobby think they should do, and I'll trust in them, but I don't know. That circus could be crazy. That could be nuts. That's the kind of thing where it's like a deal with the devil. It's kind of like, do you really want to do this? Do you really want to do this? You really got to think about the whole thing. It's not just about Bronny, obviously, because it's about LeBron. Yeah, in some ways it's like, I know a lot of Bron-sexuals would be like, yes, Raptors draft Bronny. I'd love it. Me, I'm a little bit more skeptical. Me, I'm kind of like, let's think about LeBron James' last few years in the NBA. Think about what he brings to the court, brings as a teammate. And I'm just like, do we really need this around our team? I don't know. I'm not interested in Bronny James. I've never really wanted the idea of LeBron and Bronny to be on the Raptors. Some people, fans, may have gotten into this idea and thought about it, and they're like, "Wow, what if we draft Bronny and LeBron's a Raptor all of a sudden?" I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy shit, is what I'm saying. In some ways, it's like that. It really is like making a deal with the devil. I'm serious. You may get some really amazing stuff from it. But there's also all kinds of headaches and side stuff that you may not realize that may make it way not worth it. So I'm the kind of person to say, let's pass. Let's pass on this. It's something that I'm not interested in. I think that Bronny is overhyped, partly just because he's LeBron's son. And I don't even know like how good he is. I've barely seen him play at USC. I've seen some highlights of him from high school and things like that. But I don't know if this is worth it. I think that people think this and they're like, oh, we're going to get LeBron. And they think LeBron 10 years ago. No, this LeBron is a very different LeBron now. Go watch Angry Old Hoops fan, and he'll tell you the kind of LeBron that's playing right now, as far as lazy and not really playing a team game and being very selfish for himself in a lot of ways. So, yeah, Trevor, I hard pass, but I don't know what Bobby and Masai will think about this. They probably hard pass too. If we get really thinking about it, these guys are smart guys. If I've already sussed it out as myself, well, they're smart enough to suss out this is not a good idea. It's not a good idea. Chris is saying I would draft them if I was the Raptors with a late pick only to sell merchandise and fill seats. Shit, we drafted Malachi Flynn. Laugh out loud. Chris, you're hilarious, man. I'm gonna give you a dunk for this one. I mean, there is some logic to what he's saying there. I mean, it will be a money thing for sure. It's a good business decision, probably, but it may not be a good decision for your roster. That's what I'll put there. That's what I'm saying. It's a deal with the devil. Make some money, make some fast bucks, maybe have a quick, like, little time period with both James on your team, and then LeBron's gone. And, after that, I don't know. I don't know how your team looks after LeBron's manipulations. If we know anything about his time with the Lakers, is he's le GM. Le GM. Monique is here. Super fan Monique Lawrence is with us. Good morning, Rabbit Freak family. Take me back to Toronto. All-Star weekend any day. Can't believe it's been 8 years already. She wants that All-Star to come back to our city. Well, they just had the NHL All-Star here, and they were blessed with great weather for the NHL All-Star weekend in Toronto. I don't know if anybody's controlling weather in the government or something. Stop fucking with the Raptors. If we're gonna have another All-Star weekend here in Canada, let it be as nice as it was for the NHL weekend that they just had recently. Please, please, whoever's weather manipulating out there with seeding the clouds, stop fucking with us when we have All-Star weekend. Don't make it so cold. Polar vortex, go away. Yeah, I'm all about it too, Monique. I mean, let's think about how long ago it was that Indiana got it. There's 30 teams in the league, and they each have a arena. Not every team's going to get the All-Star game, and some will get it more often because they're more attractive. I think we did really well during our All-Star weekend, so I think we're in good standing to get it again. But I don't know how soon it'll be. You said it's been 8 years. It could be another 8 at least until we get it. Maybe 5, maybe sooner. I don't know. They'll announce it a couple years in advance, and we'll know we're getting it ahead. But we'll have to see. We will have to see, Monique. I don't disagree with you. I'd like to have the NBA All-Star weekend back in Toronto once again for the second time. That'd be cool. Cowboy saying, good morning, Lex and the Rapper Freaks. Dap to you, Mug Brothers in effect. I see that. Most saying, I only really watched Scotty, but really didn't care, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, if the competition is going to be a joke, Monique, I can understand. Like, why should we get invested in it? Why should we care? That's part of the problem, NBA. Like, it really is like, if you're common sense people, you can see your games are interesting, but if they're very unfair and not very competitive because they're rigged, as far as like, these guys, like Scotty had to ask the handlers for the competition yesterday how to do it right before. Like, I saw him asking questions to the people that are running it. In some ways, that's not totally fair because they're guinea pigs. They're going to run through the system of the game, and the other teams will get to see how to do it, and then they'll get to go do it. And if you were the first ones coming in, you're seeing it blind. That's really unfair. So we can tell that as fans, and in some ways, it taints the competition or the value of Indiana winning. Does that make sense? It's just, you guys don't let people win on their outright of their ability anymore. That's part of the problem. The NBA is helping people, all kinds of different advantages on the down low, all over the place, whether it's the schedule, whether it's the refs. Well, in this skills competition, there's ways of helping people do things. So it's like nothing's on the up and up anymore, NBA. We can tell you're writing storylines, just like the wrestling, just like a movie. You have a storyline you want to write about Mac McClung. Okay. You got a storyline you want to write about Dame Lillard. Okay. You want a storyline about Indiana, and you're trying to make Indiana's market rejuvenated because maybe they've been stale in the last couple of years. So they say, all right, we're going to put the All-Star game in Indiana, and we're going to let them win some competitions so their market gets a little more pepped up. So people are more interested. Oh, yeah, let's let them get the finals in the IST, and it'll rejuvenate the Indiana market, which has been stagnating in recent years. The popularity in Indiana has just not been good. Well, let's throw them some bones. Let's let them get to the finals, but don't let them beat LeBron in the IST. No, because we need him to be the first one ever. Y'all can write all the storylines y'all want. We can see right through them. So stop doing it. Let it just be an unbiased, fair competition. We can tell when that is happening. We can tell when you're not fixing shit and setting people up to win. So that's the way. That's why we love the old 3-point shootout. That's why we love the dunk competition, because in some ways, y'all, it was more a feeling anybody could win. At this point, they step up. It's like Jacob Toppin. You're not going to win the dunk competition. There's just no way. You could have the best dunks, but you're not the name. You're not the person. You're not the anointed NBA person to win this. Jalen or Mac can, but you can't, buddy. I mean, that's that kind of shit that's going on with this. Seriously. It's like, why watch? That's what Monique's saying. Why am I watching? It's boring. It's boring. It is boring. Yeah. G saying league tried not to help the Celtics and their players challenge impossible. I know they can't help but try and help the Celtics. There's people working in the league office that are huge Celtics fans that are doing shit to help the Celtics from within the NBA league office. Seriously. I know there is, because these fuckers are trolling us on our NBA.com schedule for the Raptors. Yeah, why is there a 46 jersey there? Yeah, you motherfuckers are trying to send a message about Aaron Baines to us. I know, we can tell they're your code and your stupid shit. We can tell all the different little ways you're manipulating stuff. Seriously, we have eyes wide open. We can tell. Cowboys saying Bronny James, I would say no. Y'all keep saying Hames, Ronnie Hames. No, I would say no too. G saying Scotty made all of his shots in the shooting contest, and I'm pretty sure they added some extra points for the Pacers team after the clock ran out. Yeah, they did all kinds of manipulations. It wasn't fair. They did weird shit. They totally did weird shit. They wanted the Pacers to win. Why? It didn't look good if Scotty and his team won because it's not like they have a connection to it. They're just a team they threw together. In some ways, the storyline they wanted to write with that was Scotty and Tyrese again, and their I don't want to hug you moment. And then like a little bit of like the failure of those guys in that competition was, they even made fun of Scott during the competition. Reggie said some out of pocket shit about the first time he did the competition. And Scotty couldn't hit anything. He was horrible. It was some of the shit he was saying about Scotty was insulting while he was actually excelling on the court. And I was like, fuck you, Reggie Miller, your stupid ass shit. Fuck you. Let's see. James is saying Dame actually won. I was going for Trae Young. Yeah. Yeah, I was going for Trae Young near the end of it too. I thought that it was kind of like, once again, unfair that he had to go first in the 3-point shootout after just doing the skills competition. That man, they had that guy hoisting half-court shots for the tiebreaker with Scotty and them. In some ways, that was a dumb way to decide who was going to win, throwing half-court shots and putting a timer on them. I was disappointed those guys didn't get one sooner. Like, it took y'all almost a minute. Tyrese Maxey, Trae Young. I mean, I get Scott. And Scott was trying to flip overhead shots. Like, what are you doing, Scotty? It's hilarious. Well, why didn't y'all hit that sooner, Trae? That's your bread and butter. You should be hitting half-court shots because you're known for it, right? Why did it take you guys so long to hit that half-court shot? And, of course, Trae's tired from that, and he's got to do the 3-point shootout immediately after. Yeah, we can Windhurst this. We can Windhurst this. Yeah. Yeah. James is saying dunk contest is super whack. I just watched the highlights today. Yeah, it's nothing that special. It's just kind of like cheesy. It's very cheesy. I admire Jaylen Brown's sentiment of coming and competing in it, but he needed one other superstar in there with him. He needed a balance. Neek needed Jordan and vice versa. And in some ways, like they were saying on the broadcast, Anthony Edwards, you should have stepped up and went up against Jaylen Brown in this competition. If they have at least 2 superstars every year, the dunk competition will be all right. But a one-man guy like that, well, he's going to look like he's getting favoritism against the no-name players. Just like in an NBA game, Jaylen Brown gets to the free throw line. Jacob Toppin does not. That's just like it right there. Yeah. Nameless saying, Buongiorno, amici. Buongiorno, amici. Yes. My paisano. Yes. Chris is saying, people are dopamine addicts. Everyone needs it to be better than before. The all-star stuff was fun. Steph and Sabrina were cool. The dunks were hard, impossible for 99% of people. Nice win by Lillard. See, look at Chris being just overly positive. I mean, that's cool, man. I like you looking at the lighter side of things and trying to be optimistic and kind of positive. Yeah, it's all good. I mean, his side of things is interesting. He's saying that, people just want bigger and better every time. Dopamine addicts. I get what you're saying, man. I mean, it was a little bit fun, but it's also kind of like, this is lame too. I'm with Dana on this one. I was just like, what is this? Waste of time. And I mean, why even do this? It's silly. It's silly. And you can tell the All-Star weekend's losing its luster because the celebrities that come to it are lame at this point. We're seeing Guy Fieri sitting up front. And usually they'd have a lot of players they're playing the league sitting around the court. Hardly anybody. All the legends are there, but hardly any of the current players are sitting around the court because they don't care. They know it's lame, and they all are like doing other things. Did Scotty hang around and watch the later events? I didn't see him. It's like he did the skills competition. He probably left afterwards. He didn't even stay to watch the dunk competition. It's that kind of thing. It's just like it's like a bad scene. And people don't really care about being there, except for Guy Fieri. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. Guy Fieri is like the big celebrity at courtside for Saturday night. Oh my gosh. Guy Fieri. Yeah. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Raptor Free crew. Sabrina scored 26, the same amount Dame won with. Fear is challenging the ego. That's what it is right there. I believe what Cool Cat's saying is men are a little fragile and scared of Sabrina beating a man. Oh my gosh. That's a lot of what this is. It's like fragile men are worried about women coming up or getting equality or even beating them. and they got to protect that. In some ways, the male patriarchy got in around and huddled together like what how do we deal with this? Well, we got to do this because like we got to let her do this because everybody wants it, but how do we not make men look bad? It's bullshit. Like that is the way I look at what happened last night, and a lot of it has to do with the broadcast, the way they talked about it, and in their own voices. It showed that the misogyny of the NBA announcers. Even Ernie Johnson. I'm so disappointed you, Ernie. You're supposed to be better than this. You're supposed to be more a worldly and understanding of these kind of issues. And your chauvinism was showing last night. Let's just put it that way. Let's keep going. Nameless is saying there was zero chance I was about to watch the gimmicks last night. I'm not one for gimmicks. It's definitely what it is. Gimmicks. I'm so disappointed that you didn't utilize the floor better. It was weird. They had different like character trails for each of the dunk competitors. Jalen got stars under his feet wherever he walked, little gold stars. They had like little orange blocks for like Jacob Toppin. And like each one of them had little footpath patterns that were different. There were some things they did with the LED floor that were interesting, but overall, I give y'all a D for how you use the LED floor. You wasted it. You could have done way more with it. I like kind of the overlay with the flag for Jaime and the images of like the Hispanic players. That was cool. There was some of the stuff y'all did with like some of the display during the dunk competition was kind of cool. But overall, the way you used the floor was not as impressive as Friday night. And you kind of dropped the ball with it on Saturday night. You guys could have made us wowed with some really spectacular kind of stuff happening on the court, but you really didn't. It was too static, and some of the gimmicks were just not as cool as the celebrity games gimmicks. They really weren't. It was just, and the visuals were not that like well designed or created. They were kind of ugly. They had like that weird green floor for the whole 3-point shootout, which caused an afterglow, a glow all over everybody's faces because the floor was just this crazy Gatorade glow in the dark, fucking yellow green. And it's like across the whole floor. So it just makes this weird ambiance around everybody. In some ways, that may have been difficult for 3-point shooters to shoot on. The radioactive glow of the court. I just feel like they could have used the floor way, way better for the visual presentation of Saturday night. They really could have. Really, really could have. G saying for me, it was still fun, but clearly they were trying to rig an all-star weekend, which was weird too. Pacers always going last. Jaylen Brown did not deserve those scores. That mini tiebreaker. Yeah, there was a lot of fishy shit last night. NBA All-Star Saturday. A lot of fishy shit. Why can't y'all just have an all-star weekend and just let the guys compete? Why do y'all have to have fingers on how you want things to go? Why do you have to have puppet masters doing different things to make certain outcomes happen? Yeah, it's fishy as fuck. And we can see right through it. Y'all can't fix shit anymore. The fans are too smart. We understand. Trevor's saying, good morning, Raptors family. I get into Indiana late last night, but I'm here to watch Scotty play tonight. There you go. Trevor J's going to the All-Star game. And on that note, I'm going to open my Wildcard Wednesday box, and we're going to do a special Cosmic card of the day because Trevor's here, and he's going to the All-Star game. Let's see which card out of the Cosmic card box I pull today. And this is always classic cards, so we'll see what the card of the day is real quick since Trevor J's here with us, Commissioner. I'm not looking, and I'm just pulling one random card out, and we'll see what individual this card is. All right, I had one. I lost it, so I'm grabbing a different one. Let's see who it is. This will be fun. Looks like we got another Miami Heat player. This is really weird, y'all, actually, because we got the other Syracuse Miami Heat player. We got Sherman Douglas this time. Last time it was Ronnie Cycli. Both of them are Syracuse Orangemen, and they both played for the Miami Heat at the same time. Is this a Sherman Douglas rookie card? Let me see. No, it's his second year. Yeah, Sherman was a small point guard, and he really did play a lot with Ronnie Cycli. So where's my Ronnie Cycli card from the other day? Let's see. There you go. We got Ronnie and Sherman, Syracuse. I'm sure Leo Routins would love to see these two together again. Leo, this is for you, my man. Syracuse Orangemen, Miami Heat guys. Yeah. They're from the same set, too. Very cool. So I have a pair of Miami Heat Upper Deck cards from the Cosmic Card Collection. Ronnie Cycli and Sherman Douglas, a couple of Orangemen. Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, there's your classic card of the day. Sherman Douglas. Sherman Douglas. Cool Cat saying, I like this. Scotty and Maxie are giving us jokes this year again. I want that duo every year, and I want them to give us bloopers, make it fun. Maxie is just not about hugging Scott. And, they were making a big deal out of this, and it's a little cringe. Scotty's like, I'm not trying to make this our thing. But the press is putting on them all the time. And Maxie's adamant, no, he's not going to hug me. He's still saying that 2 years later. No, you're not going to hug me, Scotty. Don't even try. So he didn't. I didn't see Scotty try and hug him last night. So that was good. In some ways, that was probably something that Maxie was like, no, you cannot do it. Do not do it. So let's check the Instagram stories real quick because they'll tell us a lot about what happened last night. First of all, y'all, yesterday was a special day for our former center, Christian Coloco. Christian Coloco was inducted at Arizona into the Ring of Honor for the Arizona Wildcats. This is a really nice honor for him. They did it at the Arizona game yesterday. He came out, he waved to everybody. I feel so bad about Christian and his health issue and him not being on our team all of a sudden. It's just really weird and it sucks. I hate it so much. But I do like to see him getting honored by Arizona at his university and being put in the Ring of Honor. Yeah, man, this has got to be the craziest year for him at this point, as far as his ups and downs and where he's at now. Let's see who else we got. Mr. New York City is running around at the All-Star game. He's behind the broadcast booth behind Reggie Miller and them. He's filming it, and he's showing like the goings-ons at NBA All-Star Saturday because he's there taking it all in and checking it out. And he's saying, even though I could finally say that I made it, I'm still highly grateful and super motivated. Never stop dreaming. Never stop dreaming, Mr. Marquise Noel, and go get your achievements, and you'll get to real All-Star game maybe someday. We'll have to see. Yeah, he was showing when Steph beat Sabrina in the clip there. Emmanuel Quickley is apparently in Miami. He's seen at the court of the University of Miami Hurricanes. Posted something yesterday there. Scotty doing some partnership with DoorDash, doing some advertising with them. He had some fans that were with him, and he hung out with them, taking pictures as part of DoorDash partnership. Scotty coming in with the Dodge Ram t-shirt or jacket. It's kind of like, I get that motif because they're in Indy, and it's about the Indy race cars. So he kind of had like a Dodge Ram like look on his jacket because of the Indy kind of stuff. Also, Casey Bannerman released a new special All-Star jersey for Scotty this weekend, and it's absolutely fire. It's got an embroidered Scotty dunking over the number. I think what Casey does is he takes these All-Star jerseys and like adds onto them. And like he's sewn on some patches and an embroidered Scotty dunking it on the number. And they're for sale and they're while they last. So I'm going to tell everybody right now, if you want that Casey Bannerman, Scotty Barnes All-Star jersey, you need to get it today. It is available. You guys were talking about how you couldn't get anything by Casey. Well, there's a new thing out, and get on it right away if you want it. It's cool because it's got an FSU logo on it, the old Seminole head, and it's even got Chief Osceola on Renegade running over Toronto logo. In some ways, I don't like the way that symbolizes, but in some ways it makes sense because Scotty's come up to Toronto and conquered Toronto Raptors land, being our franchise face. And that's really what Chief Osceola on Renegade symbolized for Florida State, is he comes out at the beginning of the game and he takes the flaming spear and he puts it in the middle of the field. And that's really, in some ways, having Chief Osceola running on the word Toronto on the jersey symbolizes Scotty coming up to Toronto and putting that flaming spear in the ground up here as a Seminole in our great franchise. In some ways, I really like the jersey because I'm a Florida State Seminole in a lot of ways, and having the Florida State stuff on it is fantastic in some ways. Casey Bannerman, good stuff. But yeah, y'all jump on that right away. Seriously, don't mess around. If you really want a Casey Bannerman limited edition, this is what I'm going to say. This is an investment. If you get the Casey Bannerman All-Star jersey for Scotty, it's going to be worth tons of money down the road. Think about this. If he only makes 100 of these and you have one of 100 in 20 years, when there's people are saying, oh, you have the Scotty All-Star jersey by Casey Bannerman, that may be worth like 10 times what you pay for it today. Just so you know. That's what I'm serious. I can tell you this. If they're rare and they're not made a lot, they go up in value. And Casey Bannerman jerseys are like that. Let's just say that. There's another thing that I need to tell y'all, and this is an opportunity to come hang out with me. All right, y'all. They announced yesterday that they're going to do the next coaches open house. I went to the Nick Nurse coaches open house in the last season of Nick Nurse, and it was fun. It's so good. Well, they're doing it again, and I've already signed up for myself. I highly encourage any of y'all, if you want to go with me, we'll go and we'll sit together and we'll watch the coaches open house together. I'm really excited about going again because I want to see how Darko does it in contrast to how Nick did it when I went before. I'm also very interested to hear Darko's assistant coaches speak. It's a fantastic event. It's going to be on March the 19th on a Tuesday. It's not a normal kind of day for it. The last time I went, it was on a Sunday. It's very early in the morning. It runs from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It is free. And you can sign up for it right now. Just look for the Toronto Raptors NBA coaches open house and sign up for it and join me. And we'll make arrangements to meet up together outside and go in and sit together and watch the whole thing together. I'd really, really like it if at least one of y'all went with me. If not, let's get a small group and go down there. If you can afford to go down there on a Tuesday, the 19th of March from 9 to 1 p.m., that's what it's going to be. But it's a fantastic event. We will actually get chances to ask questions to Darko ourselves, that they have a question and answer period between the audience and the coach. And it was very fun. They did it with Nick too. So I know what to expect going to this thing. It's fantastic. And I highly recommend any of y'all that want to go, and you're free to go, to come with me. And just let me know either in the chat here or on the Facebook group or just in general. We'll figure it out. But yeah, March the 19th, 9 a.m. is when it starts, and it goes to about 1 p.m. Let's go to the coaches open house, and y'all can get your own clipboard like I did, the coaches whistle, and all that great fun stuff. And we can hear all our assistant coaches talk, and including Darko, and you get to watch a Raptors practice. They do a full practice in front of you, so all the players will be there also, just so you know. So yeah, please, somebody come to the coaches open house with me. It's going to be fun. It's going to be so fun. All right, just a little news and notes. Casey Bannerman jersey, coaches open house, March 19th. Sign up and come on down. That's right. Chris is saying Kenny Smith did come off as a loser, though. Curry is the best shooter ever. I think all that was said is that she is used to playing at the closer line. It's just for fun anyway. It was nice to invite her. Yeah, but it's damaging. And it's also propagating male chauvinist ideas. A lot of what they were saying was very much from the boys club. And it's kind of fucked up. They weren't sensitive to things. In some ways, those announcers may need sensitivity training on women's issues. And that may be what they need for next time if they're going to do something like this. WNBA announcers would have handled this a whole way different than NBA announcers. Trust me. I mean, we can say, oh, it's just good fun. They're just like, no, dog, listen, it's damaging. And it'll sound archaic in like 50 years from now, the shit that they were saying. It'll sound just like racist shit on TV that was okay back then. It's just time will pass, and they'll sound like they're fucking idiots in like 20 years from now. Watch. Let's see. I didn't like the whole Reggie versus Kenny on like 3-point shooting versus dunk contest. I know that was very scripted. They were doing this whole thing the whole game night where they're like, oh, no, the 3-point shootout's better than the dunk competition. No, the dunk competition is better than. And, of course, Kenny's for the dunk competition and Reggie's for the 3-point shootout. But their arguments were really dumb and lame and just kind of like tired, very tired. It's like, dude, y'all can't drum up interest or like make this a thing by making fake bullshit like this. It's not going to make it more exciting by saying, oh, you guys are arguing about 2 lame events. That doesn't help anything, Kenny and Reggie. It really doesn't. They're lame events. So it's like, oh, okay, you guys are arguing about which one's better. Honestly, the 3-point shootout is better than the dunk competition. But you know what? To me, the skills competition was the most exciting one last night. Seriously. Partly because of Scotty, but partly because it was the most interesting competition because it had more bells and whistles and interesting new stuff involved in it. The 3-point shootout is very boring in some ways because it's the same names coming in. And in some ways, it's not like it's the excitement of it's not built up right by the NBA anymore. The dunk competition's lame for all the reasons why it's been lame for a while now. The Sabrina versus Steph thing was actually the second most interesting thing because of the novelty of it. But the skills competition, because of the new different levels of the rounds and the moving targets and the floor was utilized for spots, that was the coolest competition to me. But of course, I'm a Raptors fan, and that's part of it too. Let's see. Chris is saying, I think what the crosstalk with the announcers show is how competitive these people are. On Gilbert Arenas' podcast, they talk fights in the NBA. It really is not about being nice. You can't be to win. I don't think we're talking about the same thing, Chris. I'm talking about male chauvinism. I'm talking about men talking down women in an unnecessary way. And you may have a blind spot to this. That's all I'll say. They said some stuff that was very insulting towards women in general. Let's just put it that way, Chris. That's what we're talking about. Cowboys saying, "Let's go, Trevor. Let's go. Let's go." Cowboys saying, if Scotty wasn't an all-star, I wouldn't be watching the game tonight." Yeah. In some ways, Canada may have decided this, and that's why Adam Silver's like, "Oh shit, we need to put Scotty in because Canada may not tune in this whole weekend." I mean, we had all decided that. Seriously, we had. Like, if there's no Raptors involved in the whole All-Star weekend, well, we're not watching. We have no reason to watch otherwise. It's like that's just an essential thing. It's kind of dumb marketing if you don't involve one of the countries that are involved in your league. You just need one representative somewhere. It didn't even have to be an all-star. If they had put one of our guys in the three-point shootout or the dunk competition or something like that, that would have maybe been enough for me because I was able to say, like, yeah, maybe the Raptors do not deserve an all-star, but I'm glad Scotty got it. And I'm not saying he didn't because he does deserve to be an all-star. It's just it was very fringe and could have gone either way. And the reasoning for him not being an all-star this year, I could understand it considering our record as a team. But I'm glad he made it. But yeah, having Canadian content at the All-Star weekend is a big, you have to. Hello, Adam Silver. And if you ignore the Raptors around the All-Star weekend, well, Canada will ignore the All-Star weekend. Let's just put it that way. Let's see. Stargate saying, "Good morning, Raptor Freak family. All-Star weekend is a snooze fest. Not really worth my attention." I'm with you on this. On another note, the Bucks are a dumpster fire, and I love it. Good for them. Serves them right, and I will tell you why in my next comment. All right, for sure. I'm looking forward to it. He's saying, in my opinion, I believe the league itself was instrumental in Giannis re-signing with the Bucks to a supermax. I believe he was seriously considering leaving and coming here. The NBA couldn't have that. Laugh out loud. Giannis to the Raptors would have been a nightmare for the NBA. And Silver and I truly believe they stepped in and interfered with that process, making sure he didn't come here. You know what? This is actually a very plausible theory. I won't say that you're crazy. I won't say that this is madness. I could see a lot of this being true. I think that you're right. I think that in some ways that opened their eyes, the move that Masai and Bobby did, that gangster move to get Masai to get Kawhi, really scared the hell out of the whole league, and seeing that how powerful our front office is and how they can make things happen really quick. Well, we know the Giannis connection with Masai is very strong, and this may very well be exactly true. We've heard Giannis Antetokounmpo talk about the future of the Bucks. Very much is going to determine whether he's going to be around or not with them. He's made threats. Well, they signed him to the Supermax last summer. And in some ways, maybe he wasn't ready to do that, but maybe they were like making assurances to him. Well, we're going to do whatever we can to make us competitive. Well, since they're not competitive right to the level that they want to be right now, and they're losing more than they're winning, they made this coaches change. I wonder how Giannis is feeling right now. Seriously, maybe he regrets doing that extension last summer. Maybe he's still going to force his way out of there. That's the thing that Masai keeps saying. Listen, if Daryl Morey can collude with Nick Nurse and sabotage the season of the Raptors and get Nick Nurse to come coach his team after it with no penalty, if some crazy shit happens where Giannis Antetokounmpo forces his way out of Milwaukee and he's a Raptor all of a sudden, hey, I don't know. I love what Stargate said here. It could be maybe totally off base and not right, but I could see this being possibly true in the inner workings. Seriously, I could see this. Cowboys saying, buy your hardwood classic hats now. In a couple of years, they're going to be called classic hats. Yes, yes, and yes, Stargate. Cowboy, you're funny, man. You are funny. Wow, Stargate, what an interesting theory. And I won't disagree with it. I could see the plausibility in it. Let's see. Blackhawk saying Max dunk over Shaq was clean. Shaq's head was not nudged at all, which validates Mac's insane vertical. Yeah, that is impressive. Way better than Vasquez was actually pushing off in his first dunk. You could tell, you could see him push off the shoulder to get up over, and that's not impressive. Everybody doing jumps over people. Well, that's the thing you watch for. Are they using the shoulder to push off and get that little bit of extra oomph? Yeah, top end, McClung, nope. They went clean over their jumps. Vasquez, he did use the shoulder. He did use the shoulder. Yeah. Stargate Stan. The only reason I'm bringing this up is I believe he was on his way to signing here, and the NBA blocked it behind the scenes. So this backfires just poetic justice. That's the crazy thing about things. You know, we have that thing where we say ball don't lie. Well, you know, in some ways, the karma and the way the world works in basketball is very interesting. In some ways, that's part of the reason why we won the 2019 championship is because ball don't lie. We were due it because they had slighted and done so much shit to push against us. Well, that's the thing with the laws of physics. You push against something, there's a push back. And well, maybe the NBA is trying to force and control things a little too much. And the basketball gods out there like to regulate and make it work the other way. That's what I'm saying. This is some of that shit. Ball don't lie. And if y'all are trying to do certain things in certain ways, well, maybe the basketball gods are angry and they will make things go the other way, like the Toronto Raptors winning the 2019 championship. So, yeah, this is the one thing. They push us down. They push us so hard. Maybe something comes around and pushes us up and against it because it's the laws of you know, physics in some ways. Where it's like you're going to push and push and push. Well, if that's not natural, if that's not the right way it's supposed to be, there will be some other counter effect. And maybe this is what it is. They did this with the Bucks, and well, they're getting ball don't lie at this point. Just like a bad technical, they go and they step to the line and they miss it and brick it. And Alvin Williams says, "Yeah, the basketball gods." Fuck around, Milwaukee, and find out. And that's what's going on right now. That's what's going on. Yeah, poetic justice. That's it. Cream saying, I know people are not too fond of the LED court. I am, but I find it very innovative. And Adam Silver is staying ahead of the curve, not like Roger Goodell, Rob Manfred, and who are not willing to change. No, I think that it is true. The NBA is very progressive and forward thinking. And I like it. I like how quickly the NBA is changing. I don't think that change is bad. I think some of it is not totally good, and they need to revert back to some things. But a lot of it is good, like the play-in tournament. So I think the LED court has been a smashing success this weekend. I think that they've even said on the broadcast that it's been the star of the weekend, the LED court on the down low. I don't think that fans are saying they don't like the court. I haven't heard very many people say negative things about the LED court at all. I haven't heard people, you're saying people aren't fond of it. I've not heard those people. I've said that I've heard mostly people saying it looks cool and that the possibilities with it are insane. Seriously, if you really think about the possibilities for this, they are insane. Are we going to get to the point where teams like are going to have to watch out? Like there may be rules to how you use the LED court in your home arena, as far as like, you know, they may relax using it in the middle of the game and allow certain graphics to happen during the middle of the game. These are all going to have to be things worked out. Of course, there may be some cheating and some weird shit that some of the franchises do to game the thing to mess people up with their shots. I don't know. It's going to be a weird thing to see the evolution of the LED courts and how quickly they become mainstream and like on every court in the league. They will, trust me. You saw it in the thing yesterday for the skills challenge. What did they do at the very beginning of the Kia skills challenge before Scotty and Maxie and them came out? They put a graphic on the middle of that court of a Kia car, and it looked like it was real in the middle of the court. I'm telling you, it's like a big TV screen for advertising. So the NBA is all about that. So any way they can get more advertising bucks, well, they're going to put LED courts on as many courts in the NBA as they can in the future. Watch. And the money is going to drive it, and the advertising potential will drive it for sure. For sure. I don't know how those sports can do what the NBA can do. In some ways, it's a very lucky thing about the NBA court and the way it is. You know, they were saying that LED court isn't exactly right for NBA games. They went out and tried it. Reggie said he tried it. He said, I could see us doing this Saturday night on this, but I don't know if it's good for an NBA game yet, as far as the way it bounces or the way it feels on your feet. They may still need to work some things out with it as far as the addition of it. That there may be needs to be more grip, or they maybe need to figure out how to put them all over ice rinks. There's a couple of things they got to figure out with these LEDs for sure. Kareem saying, I knew McClung took the contest serious when I seen his dunk experts positioning Shaq. Yeah, those guys were interesting. Those guys were not his particular experts. They were the producers of the segment. And they had already worked with all the dunkers on where people were supposed to stand. And those guys were TV guys for NBC, for NBA and TNT and the TV. And they were just out there to help things go smoothly on schedule. That's what they were doing. In some ways, Jaime telling his guys where to stand. Well, these guys came out and said, you stand here. This is where he needs you to stand. So they were producers. They weren't people that worked with Mac. They worked with every single dunker and the whole thing. That was the producer of the dunk contest that was telling people where to stand. Let's see. Chris is saying men are better players, Lex. See, this is the thing. This is the thing. And in some ways, we don't need to do this, Chris, because in some ways it'll make you look bad. And that's the thing, that you don't need to open this up in some ways. Because honestly, what this is about is making an equal playing field. And the fact that men are so insecure that they can't let the woman just be on the equal playing field with them, well, that speaks more volumes than anything right there. That speaks more volumes than anything. They got to say, oh, use the women's line, use the women's ball. Well, that's just a built-in excuse for if she beats them. So, yeah, anyway, in this competition, it's a fair game. It's not about strength. It's not about anything. And you can't say that, Chris, for sure. You cannot say that. Men are better players, Lex. Don't do this, Chris, because this is not a space that's open to chauvinism. And honestly, that's a chauvinistic comment right there. The NBA gives the WNBA $12 million plus a year and created the WNBA. That's the real deal. The issue the WNBA has is lack of support from female fans. There aren't enough of them. You're bringing up stuff that we're not talking about today. We're not talking about the WNBA and the NBA's relationship as far as the leagues. We're talking about a one person versus one person in a shootout. And honestly, you going further with this, in some ways you're being defensive and saying this, thou dost protest too much, incriminates you. So don't do this, Chris. You don't have a target on you. You don't need to stand up for men. Are you that worried about things or scared that you feel like you need to? Because that's what this energy is telling me in this comment. Let's just put it that way. Fiercely saying, agree with you, Stargate. They were not ready for Giannis coming here. Oh, well, look how it's turning out for the Bucks. Yeah, for sure. For sure, Fiercey. Let's see what else. Fiercey saying, no, 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 no. Wemby's first All-Star weekend, not too memorable. He's not even in the All-Star game. He's done for the weekend. And he lost all over the place. This is the thing. Wemby's got a learning curve of how to win the NBA, obviously, with the Spurs. And in some ways, there's he's so interesting with his body type and what he can do, but he has severe weaknesses also. And in some ways, the NBA's figured out the weaknesses before he's progressed and able to beat them. And that is why the record is so bad, the Spurs. Well, in some ways, I don't know if these weaknesses transferred to this weekend because he lost a lot this weekend too. Yeah. Blackhawks saying Raptors will get another center with their second round pick. Sorry, Bronny. I like that plan way better, Neil. I'm with you on that. All right, here we go. Chris, you're opening this can of worms yourself, just so you know. I'm going to say what I have to say to it, though, and I'm not going to mince words. So if you're out of pocket, just get ready, seriously. Chris is saying, I coach both sexes. The game is not the same. It isn't played the same. What I see is the NBA very much helping female basketball and how now it paid off. Young girls will be inspired. That's the point. Yeah, but do they need to insult them on the way? Do they need to do this? You're missing the point of what I'm trying to say, Chris. You don't need to argue with me on this. In some ways, if you really want to get into this, you're going to look bad. Seriously. I understand you've coached both, but once again, this is a level playing field. They're not playing one-on-one. They're not playing 5-on-5. They're shooting out. In every driveway and every place in the world, a girl and a boy can shoot out against each other, and it's a fair playing field. So don't give me this bullshit, Chris. Seriously. It's not a good look. Once again, you're kind of showing your ass. And you may get mad at me for this, but I'll stand on this hill because I know I'm right. And you're bringing up stuff that doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about today. Once again, you're conflating shit and putting extra shit in it that's unnecessary. We're not talking about the relationship between the WNBA and the NBA. You're acting like the NBA is so nice and charitable to give her this opportunity. Yeah, so gracious of the NBA. Fuck that. This is good for money. That's why they did it. They're not doing this for that. In some ways, you're saying, oh, this is good for women's sport. How great of the men to allow the women to come to the men's event. That's the way you sound right now, bro. And it's not a good look. Seriously. Just, you know what? I would caution you, just shut up on this topic because you're going to dig yourself a hole where you sound like really bad, bro. We have a lot of women on this channel and they probably think you sound a little bit out of touch. Even if you say you coach women and stuff, it sounds really bad, Chris. Let's just put it that way. Nobody's asking you to stand up for the NBA on this. Nobody's asking you to say any of this, bro. The fact that you feel like you need to do this, it betrays that you're a little insecure about men and women competing. That's what I'll say. Mischief saying hard glass classic, hard glass classic. So hardwood classic, hard glass classic. Yeah, it's not even glass though. The glass is underneath rubber. There is a rubber coating above it, over it. So it's more rubber. It's very much more rubber than wood or glass. It's rubber. It's rubber. Cream saying Jaylen Brown made a complete ass of himself. This was the worst thing that could have happened to get the NBA stars to join the dunk off. No, I think it's a step in the right direction. I don't think he made an ass of himself. I don't think he embarrassed himself too bad. He competed fine. And honestly, I like that he did this because we do need more star power in that competition. It just doesn't matter if you don't. It just really doesn't. Like you can have 4 no-name guys and nobody gives a shit. You need guys that matter to the league involved. And you need at least 2. The one this year is good. It was a good start, but they were right. Anthony Edwards should have done this competition with them too. And that's the thing. Maybe they have to incentivize these guys a little bit better. I don't know. In some ways, they maybe have calculated the risk reward, and the risk is way higher than the reward. They figure it's like, all right, if they have like 8 dunkers, only one of us is going to win, and the rest of us is going to look bad. Well, now they only have 4 dunkers. Can we get 2 no names and 2 superstars at least every time? And Mac McClung will be one of the no names. That's what I'm saying. I mean, they need star power for it to resuscitate it. And at least Jaylen's trying. I don't know if he totally embarrassed himself. Fiercely saying, I called it. It's the only championship Dame would win. The Milshitty Bucks ain't going nowhere. I mean, yeah, Fiercely's loving it. Like she's really feeling like Griff's firing. And she's like, yeah, you get what you deserve. Yeah, this is his little victory for the year. I can see that. Cowboys saying hard glass classic, Mischief. Yeah, we'll give him a dunk. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. It is rubber, though, just so y'all know. Let's see. Kareem saying, all I want for this All-Star game is for Scotty to do something memorable, whether it's a half-court shot, an amazing dunk, a no-look pass, or just a cartwheel. Give me any of that, Mr. Barnes. I love that. I love that. Yeah, we want a memorable thing. We want him to do something that gets everybody out of their seat. We want him to do something very impressive. In some ways, he understands. He's representing our franchise. He's representing Toronto. And he wants to make us look good. And I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will. I'm excited to see what Scotty does in the All-Star game today. Hopefully he does something very interesting. And just like what you're saying, Kareem. Fiercely saying, silly question. Why was Benny the Bull present? There was no Chicago Bulls representative at the Skills Challenge. Well, you know what they do? And it's kind of like, and this is really awesome because we saw her in a picture with Scotty. Is they invite people from different areas in the NBA to the All-Star, and they consider them the All-Stars of their field. And Mariah Amber, our in-game ops announcer with Strizzy, was invited in this way. In fact, there's a really cool picture of her with Scotty before at the skills competition or the practice for the All-Star game, talking to her. And she's wearing a really nice red and black Toronto Raptors jacket. And I was like, you go, Mariah Amber, representing us. And it's really cool to see a friendly face at the All-Star weekend with Scotty talking to him. Because obviously he hears her voice in the arena and he's probably seen her around. And Scotty being able to talk to Mariah Amber at the All-Star practice was good. It was a very good thing. So she, much like she was like an All-Star for the announcers in game, I think Benny the Bull is the All-Star for the mascots. So they may have actually, honestly, they have a bunch of the mascots at those competitions. In fact, the Raptor could be at All-Star Weekend, and we don't even know it. But yeah, they usually have a bunch of different mascots from around the NBA just hanging around the All-Star Weekend. It doesn't matter if they have anybody competing. And in some ways, Benny the Bull, like this is what I'll say. Benny the Bull's about to retire. The guy who played Benny the Bull has played it forever. And it may be that he's there partly because of that. He's also the highest paid mascot. He's like the creme de la creme, top-notch mascot in the league, apparently. Benny the Bull, out of all the mascots, is the one that other mascots look up to and kind of think of him being like the top-notch, like creme de la creme. The Raptors up there, don't get me wrong, but Benny the Bull is supposedly the best mascot in the league. Among the mascots, who they think. Cowboys saying, I don't think Scotty will let us down. I don't think so either. He hasn't yet. I think that he did so good in the skills challenge, making the shots really, really well. And the passing part was awesome too. The dribbling part was ugly, but it was ugly for a lot of people. And but yeah, he was the best shooter in the shooting part. And you think about the guys who were in that part with him, like Tyrese Halliburton and Trae Young and Tyrese, and him being the best shooter in the shooting part of the competition is fantastic, considering when we drafted that guy out of Florida State, his biggest knock was he couldn't shoot. Well, he was the best shooter in the skills competition. And that is for sure. The stats don't lie. Yeah, Fiercey saying rooting for our number 4, Scotty Barnes. That's right. Let's go, Scotty. That's right. Mischief saying, I like the new LED floor. Better they got crazy effects like the bass music I listen to. Yeah, you want them to play bass music and make it like do crazy like waves around on the image with the music, like a little vibe. Yeah, that might be cool. That might be cool. Kareem saying, good question at Fiercey. Maybe they were paying homage to him, seeing that he passed away, I think, last year. Oh, you mean Benny the Bull? Did he die? I thought he just retired. I don't think he died. I think he just retired. I think that he's retiring, and this is his last year. Did he die? Did Benny the Bull die? I'm going to look this up. You made me very scared and worried. I heard that he was retiring. I did not hear that he died. That is sad if he did. Let me just look at it. All right, he has a Wikipedia, so there's obviously a lot on here. They're not going to tell us who the real Benny is. No, 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 no. Barry Anderson, after 12 years of taking on the role of Benny, announced that he would be retiring on June 30th to take on other interests. Okay, so wait, they did make a new one. I don't know. I don't understand this. It's confusing. Who's doing the Benny the Bull right now? I don't know. In some ways, I shouldn't know. I don't think he died. I didn't hear that. I heard he retired. If he died, that's sad, man. Man, that's sad, Kareem. If Benny the Bull died. Chris is saying, I also think promotion is the roots of the NBA, and Indiana was also good. You got LA transition and NYC guards at Rutgers, Indy team play, Portland shooters, Texan bigs, all part of the lore. I love it. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing the NBA is good at is promotion. That's for sure. That is for sure. I liked some of the connections they did last night. Some of the jerseys this weekend have looked like the Indiana Hoosiers jerseys from Hoosiers, the movie. Of course, that's a good connection. Of course, having Dominique as one of the dunk contest judges when he won the dunk competition in Indiana in 1985, that was pretty cool. People will remember him. But Fred Jones won the dunk competition, and in some ways, he symbolizes what I'm saying as far as let's make it a fair, open field where anybody could win, like Fred Jones could win. In some ways, we get the picture now that it's like, if these guys aren't big names or Mac McClung and they're going to come from nowhere and do something special, you're not going to win the dunk competition if you're not a name. It's like, I don't see Fred Jones winning a dunk competition now because he's not a big enough name. That's part of the problem at this point. Yeah, good stuff, man. I really feel like the women's game is upcoming because of Caitlin Clark and the LSU ladies and just all kinds of different cool stuff happening around women's basketball right now. And then the other thing that happened recently was they had a women's hockey game at the Scotiabank Arena recently, and it sold out like crazy. PWHL. And once again, Ed Rogers III, you're an idiot. When people are interested in women's sports, they will come and support it here in Toronto, especially in Toronto. And dropping the ball on our WNBA franchise was a real big mistake by MLSE. And just the attendance for the hockey game last week shows that people are willing and ready to watch women's sports and support it and pay money to see it. So, yeah, there's a lot of people that are off base on this and thinking that it's not economically feasible. I think that's wrong. And I think that Toronto will show that if we get the chance to. In some ways, you told us we show up and support the WNBA game last year. Y'all would give us a franchise. Well, you lied because you had already decided you weren't going to give us one, but you went ahead and had the game, and we came and we supported the hell out of it. We brought our end of the bargain. And Ed Rogers III and MLSE, well, they ixnayed things and said, no, it's not going to happen. It's not economically feasible. Motherfucker, it isn't. Motherfucker, it isn't. And that hockey game last week proved it for the hockey side of things. And the WNBA game last year proved it also. I was there. I saw it myself. That place was packed. And they bought every single bit of the merchandise that was on sale in that building that day. Yeah. Cowboys saying, I'd rather watch Mischief playing on the LED court. That would be fire. With the bass. Like, let's let the bass be like one of those old screensavers for your computer that goes with the music. And he'll just stand out there and he'll just like kill it on the bass. And the all the waves around him on the court will make everybody trip out. And we'll give everybody like psilocybin caps or something. So come and sit in. And it's like the bassman experience. And Jay's just up there like, and the whole court is like all wavy and like moving with his bass groove. That would be awesome. Honestly, that would be awesome. I'd be all about that. G saying one of the commentators did mention that Scotty made all his shots and he was impressed with his progress. Yeah. There was a bit of a sliding of him alluding to before, but then they were very much impressed with him. I think Scotty was very impressive in the skills challenge. I mean, he came out better than a lot of the other guys in it. He really did. His passing part was really good. Like, I really love that he was grabbing two balls at once and like launching one-handed while holding the other one, and then he'd have another one to throw right away. That was really smart, honestly. It's just too bad the Indiana team gamed it with the 6 shot on the passing over and over again. Really, really over and over again. All right, let's see. Chris is saying, always look on the bright side of life. He's like, he's going to go train for the dunk. I hope you get it. Seriously. Do you put like deadlifts? Do you put like the ankles around your, the weights around your ankles? Do you walk around with them all day? I mean, I know there's different ways to train to get your leg strength up. I really do hope you get this, Chris. This is later in life. This is a very good accomplishment if you're able to do this. Talk to you later. All right, buddy. All right, listen, I know sometimes some politically correct stuff, I can get a little pretentious and politically correct, but in some ways I'm making up for my misdeeds as a misogynist in my younger years. So I'll go overboard in defending against kind of that kind of stuff in some ways. And I'm not even saying that's who you are. It's just in some ways, sometimes you bring topics up that I'm just like, this is not relevant to this. It's not relevant to this. All right, let's keep going. Cowboys saying, you'll be dunking by next meet and greet. Maybe dunk over the mug. That'd be cool. We could do that. Maybe we could have the MSJ dunk challenge, and we'll see how many mugs he can jump over or how many mug brothers he can jump over. Maybe Bradley's going to be the one he jumps over. Kareem saying, I'll see if I can bring my son's basketball net at Neon Moon, and we'll get Lex to rent out the parking lot of the Real Jerk. Yeah, we could do this. We'll try. We'll sell tickets maybe even. We'll say, if you weren't very thrilled with the All-Star Saturday night, well, we've got our own All-Star Raptor Freak event going on at the Real Jerk today. Yeah, who knows? That could be cool. Fiercely saying, sending love and light to Christian Coloco. Yeah, really cool to see him get that honor, the Ring of Honor at Arizona University. Fantastic stuff, Christian. A bright spot in a dark year for sure. Stargate saying that Syracuse team with Douglas, Skyley, Derek Coleman, Stephen Thompson was a good team. I remember them playing the Big East. I was a Georgetown fan, though. Mutombo and Mourning. Yeah, Syracuse had some players. Yeah, Derek Coleman. That's another one I forgot about. #1 pick in the draft. Yeah. Syracuse Orangemen were a powerhouse back in the day. Yeah, Leo's loving this, what I'm saying right now. Leo Routens loves his Syracuse Orange. Cool Cat saying, congratulations to Coloco, Arizona Ring of Honor. He has been working out in California. Hopefully his body recovers properly to return to the league. I hope we get him back when he's healthy. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know what the rights will be. If he's medically cleared, I would hope that we have dibs on him first, considering we put a lot of investment into him already. Like, seriously, if this could happen, I'd be overjoyed if I knew that Koloko could still be in our future somehow, some way. I would be so overjoyed because honestly, he is such a prospect that, man, the things he could possibly do in the future. This has just been such a sad, tragic thing. Well, I hope we get dibs on him still if he is able to health wise come back. We should have the right to have him first for sure. We should. I hope we do. I hope we can get that outcome. Seriously, Cowboy saying Koloko, he would have been a beast for us. Blessed. Yeah, man. It so sucks. It sucks so bad. Fiercely saying thank you to Kareem and Cool Cat saying Lex for one night only. We had an alliance with the Raptors, the Sixers, and the Hawks. I know. I know. I was thinking that too. In some ways, it's like our three teams that they want to slight for some reason. Is that why they're making us go first and doing all this stuff? Yeah, Trey Young, in some ways, I don't really like the guy most of the time, but I was rooting for him last night, uncommonly. You know, Maxi's somebody I've always liked. And if Embiid's not around or Nick, well, I'm okay with Maxi. Maxi's okay by himself. Fiercey saying, by the way, I commented on Ellen Schroeder's recent vlog and she replied. What did you say, Fiercey? Yeah, it was a really nice, sweet Valentine's vlog by Ellen Schroeder commemorating their Valentine's Day together, going to the spa, getting nice dinner. Dennis is on there. In some ways, I can tell their life's been completely shook up. Also, I can tell that they were asked to not make content while they were around the Raptors for some reason. Either that was so chaotic they didn't have chances to. Well, they did make note that they're going to be putting out more content way more often now. And I wonder if that had something to do with the Raptors organization kind of like not real thrilled with their YouTube channels showing too much access to certain things. I could tell that also Ellen's been very emotional. You can get that energy from her face and how her energy. That this upheaval and change of this trade has not been easy on her, I can tell. And and she was putting on a brave face during that Valentine's Day clip. Whatever you guys said to each other, I'd love to hear it, Fiercey. If you want to write it in, I'd love to hear what you said and what she said back to you. Yeah, I wish the Schroeders all the best, man. I really do. Cowboy saying alley oop to Kareem. All right, we can do that. Let's do that right now. Kareem is getting alley oop. Oh, wow. He's at 43. You're at Siakam's number now, man. You got 43 dunks for 2024 already. You got Siakam's number, my man. Cool Cat saying, I love Casey Bannerman creativity. I bought the Forever jersey as a collector's item. Yeah, I'm telling you, these things can be worth a lot of money down the road. Seriously, I really will pinpoint and say that Scotty Barnes' all-star jersey that he released this weekend is going to be worth money down the road, for sure. For sure. It commemorates his first all-star, and that's going to be a big deal down the road when he has a bunch of them. Trust me. So if you want to, this is not even just something nice to get because you want to celebrate Scotty. This is an investment. This is something that you possibly will earn money over time. It will value up. Trust me. Anything Casey Bannerman, I'm serious. It's going to be like that, especially if it's really well made, if it's fire, if it's something that everybody would want. Yeah. You talking about in like 20, 30 years, you have that Scotty Barnes all-star jersey right now. Yeah. You could go on Antiques Roadshow in 50 years and be like, oh, you have a Scotty Barnes all-star jersey from his first all-star. This is worth $10,000. Whoa, I only paid $200 when I bought it in 2024. Oh my gosh, you've really got a good return on your investment. You know, it's shit like that. I'm telling you. Let's see. Cowboy saying, everyone slam dunk the like button. I'm going to check out that open house thing, Lex. You should, Cowboy. If you can you make your own schedule with Tada Cleaning Services, 647-833-6844. And if you want to take part of that day off just to come down and learn coaching from the Toronto Raptors coaches and watch a closed practice with every single Raptor involved, yeah, come with me, Cowboy. Come with me. That's on March the 19th of next month. 9 a.m. is when it starts. You got to sign up through their website. So go online and look for Coach's Open House and sign up through there. You got to make a profile on a certain site. And then you can sign up and they'll send you your credential, an email confirming it. And boom, it's going to be fun. I went last year. It was so much fun. And it'd be a lot of fun to go with some of y'all and kind of sit together. We're not going to talk or be disruptive, but we'll soak it in together. And when we get chances, and who knows, maybe even after the Coach's Open House, maybe we'll do an informal meet and greet where we just hang out a bit and hang out. So maybe Tuesday the 19th will be an event day for Raptor Freak meet and greet. At least go to the coach's open house and then maybe have a hangout lunch afterwards nearby. That may be the plan. How about that? I like that idea. We'll see if maybe David and Peter want to do it if they're available. We'll get a bunch of different people. We'll see. Cool Cat saying, I want to see Grady in the 3-point shooting contest. Yeah. That I think that's eventually going to happen. I think that's pretty much a good bet. It's interesting. Victor saying that he'd like to do all the events at some point. Like he wants to do the dunk contest and he wants to do the 3-point shootout. I could see that too. I mean, Victor could do both of those for sure. Trevor J saying Adam Silver at Media All-Star Weekend saying yesterday that the draft night will go to 2 nights instead of 1. Yeah, we knew this. He said a lot of different things yesterday. He was defending the 65 game rule to get any postseason awards. He says that he thinks is right. Some players are saying it should be lower, shouldn't be so many games. But Adam Silver is saying that it's been effective, that it's actually caused players to miss less games. There's less injuries, and it's done exactly what it's supposed to do. So he's very happy with the 65 game rule. And I think they're going to go forward with it and continue to do it. It may be amended to maybe a few less games. Like maybe there may be a sweet spot of 62. And you say a player can lose 20 games of the season and still be considered for postseason awards. But if they go past 60, that may be too low a number, if you ask me personally. Yeah. Let's see. Cowboy's saying he will be there next year for sure. Cool Cat talking about Grady and the 3-point shootout. We'll see. In some ways, you take some time sometimes to mature as a known shooter in the NBA, and it may not happen that quickly. Let's just put it that way. Sometimes to be Kyle Korver, it takes you 5 or 6 years. Let's just put it that way. Cowboy saying LED is coming like it or not. It's coming if you like it or not. Yeah, I think that's true. I think it's just that technology is just conducive to the product so well that it just makes so much sense. And advertisers will always find every single way they can do it. I mean, they're superimposing logos over the court already. Why wouldn't they have a screen that just put the logo on instead of superimposing Subway or McDonald's or whatever they're putting on the court any given night? Let's see. Wayne saying somehow the Giannis story I can't really buy for the simple reason that this ownership group has an appetite for compensation to remain mainstream. Orders seem to be win or on budget. Yeah. I don't know. In some ways, they could sell this to them and say, we're going to splurge a little bit because this guy will get us more championships and that will equal more money. That's ultimately always the argument that our front office has to make is, well, you want to make more money. We win more championships. We're successful. You'll sell more merchandise. You'll sell more tickets. And the team will have go up in value as far as the brand and the franchise value. That's exactly what happened in 2019. So it's good business to win championships. I hope that MLSC still realizes that. We'll have to see. Trevor's saying, I saw that Bob Marley movie. I have to say, shout out to Ziggy Marley, producing such a good movie. So that was a good movie. The Bob Marley movie was good. You felt like the guy playing Bob Marley did it justice, and he did a good job portraying him. That's awesome. I'm happy to hear that because I'm skeptical about anybody being able to fill the shoes or the gravitas of Bob Marley. Like seriously, in some ways, I don't even look at him as like a person. He is a bigger than that kind of person. He's larger than life. And any actor with even with good chops to play Bob Marley is very difficult, I would think. Very, very difficult. Oh, you gave it a 2 thumbs up, Trevor? All right. I like hearing that. And big ups to the Marley family, especially Ziggy. Ziggy's awesome. Dana's saying Sabrina was the one who brought the idea forward. So she was the instigator to do this, her idea. Yeah. And I think it was a brilliant idea. And honestly, it was the logical thing to think about after her performance last year. And the fact that she got 37, which is better than any of the men ever, better than Steph, it just makes sense. Why don't we see her against the men? And, it's the right step and it's the right thing. And it really is the right, continue to do it, except expand it. And, if Caitlin Clark comes up next year and she's involved in it too, well, that's just going to get even more crazy attention and interesting. This one was a little ho-hum. In some ways, they could make this way more interesting. I think she should be straight up allowed. Like, I think this is what they should do. They should straight up have a spot for the NBA three-point shootout every year for the WNBA three-point winner from last year. That whoever wins the WNBA three-point shootout, part of their championship of being the WNBA three-point shootout winner is they get to go and compete in the men's one the next year too. I think that they should do that, and they should fucking quit with any of the other stuff as far as the ball or the line. Just let them compete just like the men. Seriously, let it happen. And we'll see if they succeed or fail in the level with the men and on their own merits. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. And they're saying 2 or 3 from the WNBA. No, just make one of them and put them out there with the guys. If this year it would have been Sabrina, next year, who knows who it'll be? It may be Sabrina again. I'm just saying. I think that that would be a smart idea. Just every year, everybody knows that the WNBA player is going to be involved in the three-point shootout and has a chance to win it against the guys. Now, if the WNBA player beats the NBA guys, is the NBA ready to deal with that? That may be part of the issue here. It's like, oh, yeah, you can come and compete with us, but in some ways, we can't have you beat us because, oh, my gosh, what would be the message there? Yeah, what would be the message there, NBA? It'd be a fantastic message. It'd be a brilliant, amazing message. But are y'all not able to allow that to happen in your rigged storyline bullshit? That's what I'm wondering. Yeah, sure, we'll invite you, but do you realistically have a chance to beat us? Because we don't want this kind of like battle of the sexes to have like an L for men. I mean, that's the way I feel like this in some ways. Cool Cat saying it was nice to see NBA All-Star announcer Mariah. Congrats to her and the Raptors. Yeah, Mariah Amber, good job representing us. I'm proud of you. And you know what? She does have a really good voice for that job. In some ways, she took over for Kat. Kat was doing the job before. Kat went out west. And then the job just went away, and Kat's not involved anymore with the Raptors. She was involved with the Raptors for so long. Well, Mariah took over, and Mariah was in the dance pack before, and now she's gone to announcing. Well, she has a perfect voice for this. She just has that cadence and timbre to her voice, as far as like it's an attractive kind of voice to hear, and very excitable voice for like getting the crowd up with the way she speaks. So it makes sense that she's an all-star for this, and she's at the All-Star weekend. Because she's very good. She's very, very good at rousing up the crowd with her voice. Very, very good. Let's see. Infamous is saying, salute, freaks. Those calling out the front office for not doing anything to get everything to get Lillard. How do y'all feel now? I know. Those jabronis. Lillard's weaknesses are on Front Street and hunted for his poor defense. Yeah, exactly. I thought the Bucks downgraded when they made that deal. They were better off with Drew Holiday. It's not better to get Dame Lillard. Oh my gosh, Bucks, you're moving in the wrong direction. I think it started when you fired Budenholzer, and it's just gotten worse and worse. Getting Dame Lillard was the next one, and then firing Griff. And yeah, it's just getting worse and worse for you guys. Cool Cat saying Scotty will give us a power dunk tonight in the game. It will raise the roof. I can see this prediction coming true. I'd like to see Scotty get a very nasty dunk tonight. I want to see him wow the rest of the fans in the league, where they're like saying, okay, now I understand why Scotty's an all-star. This dude is badass. That's what I want. A lot of people are like, questioning why Scotty's even there. Well, prove to them why, Scott, tonight. Go out there and show them number 4. That's right. Show them why you're an all-star. That's right. Fiercely saying, in reference to Coloco, hopefully they can develop meds that can enable him to play despite his condition. Yeah, I wonder about this. Like, blood thinners ain't going to cut it. Like, how do you deal with these kind of clots? You know, in some ways, it's like, is it just a end of your career sentence for people? I know it was for Jesse Ventura in wrestling. I know that in some places, you know, what it was, Bosch had to retire early because of the same kind of thing. Chris Bosch, man, oh man. Let's see. Kareem saying, going to church with the family today as we are kind of doing the family day thing tonight. Peace out. Don't forget to end conversations with close friends and families with I love you. It goes a long way. Yeah, right on, Kareem. I'm with you on that. Yeah, enjoy church. And yeah, it is family day weekend. There's a day off tomorrow. Long weekend for Canadian people. Here in Toronto, people are off. So there's nobody going to be working tomorrow because the day off. There you go. Fiercely saying, I wrote, nice seeing you both. I missed your vlogs. Happy belated Valentine's Day and wishing you and your family all the best. And she replied, thank you so much for the love. Yeah, she's interactive with people. I've written her once before and she liked my comment. She didn't write me back, but she like hearted what I said. But yeah, in some ways, there's just such a nice, sweet family. I really wish they could have been a part of the Raptors' future going forward. and it sucks. It is what it is. Well, we go forward and we stay present. And to me, I'm sad about it, but I know a lot of Raptors fans aren't. I know they aren't. Fiercely saying, of course, I had to add my colorful heart emojis in my initial comment. Of course, that may have been what really got her attention. It's all those hearts you've been laying down everywhere, Fiercely. It's awesome, Marie. I love it. Let's see. Cool Cat saying Dennis finally family upheaval is heartbreaking. Seeing they really loved Toronto. I read Dennis asked to be traded due to team agreements not met, and it located to bench on a losing team is not good for his career. Those are lies by Grange. Yeah, Grange put out a bunch of lies about Dennis, and he's pissed at him. Apparently, yeah, that's not true. You read that Dennis asked to be traded due to term agreements not being met, and located to the bench on a losing team is not good for his career. Yeah, I mean that's a plausible reasoning for that, but I don't think that's true. I think that he very much said he wanted to stay in Toronto and that this is not what he wanted. If he changed all of a sudden and said, "No, I want to go because this is a bad look for me," well, then good, he's gone. That really is true, but I don't think that's true. I think this caught him off guard, and in some ways, they weren't totally into this. I know that Ellen valued being here. Ellen valued being around Raptors families because she was getting along. She had friends that were other people around the Raptors team. And now it's all over again. She's gone to a new team. And in some ways, the players' wives and children may not be as like friendly or like bonding as it was here. She very much expressed this, that she never felt connected to other families on the other players until coming to Toronto. So that's probably the reason why I feel like they feel like, and she also loved the city. She loved the shopping. I think they really liked the house they were staying in here in Toronto also. So yeah, it's just annoying. It's just annoying. I don't believe that, Cool Cat. That's Grange bullshit that was put out. And that's why Dennis is pissed at Michael Grange because he spread about a bunch of lies about him wanting to be traded. And I don't think that's actually true. Cowboys saying alley oop to Fiercey. All right, we'll give Fiercey an alley oop for reaching out and showing love to Ellen Schroeder. Yeah, we'll do that for sure. Let's see. 30. She's at 30. She got 30. All right, y'all. I do want to say there is a special Tuesday trivia this week. So be ready for Tuesday trivia on Tuesday and also Wildcard Wednesday on Wednesday. So be ready for trivia. It's Tuesday morning. So show up, Fiercey and Amit the GOAT. You guys are tied right now in the trivia standings. So we got to see who's going to take the lead after this Tuesday coming up. Let's see. Cowboys getting dapped. And Infamous is saying, I agree, Lex. Let's have a winner from the NBA compete in the WNBA All-Star game. Yeah, I mean, I want to see. All right, do you want Lillard to go to the WNBA weekend now and compete against the women there? Maybe. I mean, I'm not against that. We're about equality and things being equal, going both ways. Well, why not? Let's see if Lillard could beat all of the women by himself over there. And then, I mean, if he doesn't win, well, are the egos of men going to be fragile? Is what I'm wondering. Because like that'll be a very interesting thing to see. Like Lillard goes up. In some ways, he may not agree to do it. That may be part of the problem. As much as men are like not wanting to do the dunk competition because it may make them look bad. Well, in some ways, this is a no-win situation for Lillard because if he goes there and he loses, he's just going to look really bad in some ways in the eyes of some people. Some people would be like, well, you just lost to competitors and you just lost in competition. It doesn't matter if they're men or women. But some people will look at it and be like, you just lost to a bunch of girls. And Lillard may be like, hey, we'd like you to go and compete at the WNBA three-point shootout this year. And he's like, no, I'm not doing that. No way. See, I could see him being like that. If he won't come here to Toronto, you think he's open-minded enough to go do what I just said? No, he won't do it. If they asked him, he'd probably say, no, I'm not going to go to the WNBA. It's beneath me. It's beneath me. I'll bet you that's how he would act. Seriously. Let's see. Wayne's saying that story is not true, Cool Cat. Grange propaganda. We debunked that already. Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem. And Dennis was really mad at Michael Grange for putting that shit out. And it's not true. The thing that we realized, Cool Cat, is Dennis is talked to us consistently. It's not like some of the players don't talk, like OG. But Dennis has routes to talk to us all the time, whether it's the Raptors show, whether it's interviews after the game, whether it's his own YouTube stuff. And he consistently said all the way up until he got traded that he wanted to stay in Toronto. He had no problem with coming off the bench. And all the shit that Grange said is lies and that he contradicts what Grange was saying. And he said it himself. So I'm going to take Dennis's word over Grange writing bullshit behind his back. And so I don't believe this is true. And because Dennis said it himself that he was fine with it. He said he didn't prefer. This is the thing. Grange took one little nugget of what Dennis said and he extrapolated it into the things that you were saying. He said, I would prefer to start, but I'm okay with coming off the bench. I'll do whatever my coach asks me to do and what the team needs me to do. That's what he said. But he's taking that first part where he says, I would prefer to start. And he's extrapolating on it more and more and more and more and more, and then getting to this bullshit. And that's kind of what happened. Infamous is saying the 3-point competition I was referring to. Yeah, I knew you meant that and not the All-Star game. Let's see. Stargate saying Giannis in Toronto makes so much sense, especially for him. He will have 2 huge demographics in the palm of his hands, and the Greek and Nigerian communities would be like Jesus in the city. Yeah, I'm sure that he would have more people that he identifies with here in Toronto than Milwaukee. As far as, the Greek community here is huge. And I'm sure the Nigerian community is huge here too. I'm pretty sure it is. So that's true. And once again, the relationship between Masai and Giannis is very strong, and everybody knows this. Mischief saying, what channel is All Stars game on? I know it starts at 8. I don't know. I don't know for sure. It could be on TSN or Sportsnet. I'm not sure which one. We'll figure it out later. Milbester's here. Good to see Milbester, New York Nick freak, checking in with the Raptor freaks. Let's see what he's saying this morning. Happy Sunday, Raptors freak. I saw All-Star Saturday night. I will say this. Scotty was great during the skills challenge. Brunson had 24 points first round, but missed a lot of shots in the beginning. Lillard wins. Yeah, I was watching Milbester. I was watching Jalen Brunson when he's doing his 3-point shootout. His dad sitting right behind the bench looking pissed. Like he's wearing an old vintage Patrick Ewing shirt, and he just looks like an angry person. Like Rick Brunson's scary. He's scary. I remember he played in the league. He was a Raptor. He actually played for the Raptors for a little brief time, Rick Brunson, Jalen's dad. But yeah, he didn't seem pleased with his son and his performance. And of course, in some ways, Brunson was right there. He just needed to make that last shot. And he just missed it. If he had just made that last shot, he could have been in that field there. He was right there with it. Oh my gosh, Milbester. Oh my gosh, Jalen Brunson was right there. He almost had it. G saying competing like the men, though, gives NBA players an advantage because that's not how WNBA players practice. To be truly fair, do one round with the NBA rules and one round with the WNBA. That's interesting. Well, I think like what Sabrina said, shooters going to shoot. They're going to be good at whatever they do. I mean, I get it. In some ways, the NBA player doing the WNBA settings for the 3-point shootout may be too easy. In some ways, it's like, oh, well, this is nothing like what we do in the NBA. The distance is closer and the ball is smaller. I don't know. I don't know how they would figure this out exactly. First of all, I don't think Lillard would agree to do the WNBA weekend in a reverse. If he did, oh, well, I bet you Steph would do it. And that may be better anyway. Because in some ways, Steph Curry is the 3-point champion last night and not Damian Lillard. But it is what it is because Steph Curry got the best amount, didn't he? No, he got 28 or something. Anyway, either way, if Steph Curry goes to the WNBA weekend and does the reverse, that would be better. And I could see him doing it. But I don't think that Lillard will. I don't think he will. Cowboys saying later, Lex and Raptor Freaks, have a great day. Mischief, you can get it in Stream East. Okay, he's telling you go to Stream East. Milbester saying, so McClung and Lillard defend their 3-point and dunk titles. The dunk contest judges sucked. My Knicks, Jacob Toppin should have been in the final rounds with McClung, not Jaylen Brown. I completely agree with you, Milbester. In fact, I said this earlier before you showed up that, they got it wrong. Jaylen Brown got a superstar upgrade that he didn't deserve. And Jacob Toppin had the better dunks. His dunk over his brother was fantastic. And that little variation of what Vince Carter did between the legs was absolutely fantastic also. And you were exactly right. Jacob Toppin should have been in the finals of the dunk competition instead of Jaylen Brown. But I'm going to say this. Mac McClung had the best dunks, and he deserved to win the overall competition. But Toppin was definitely second. And I agree with you, Milbester. I saw the same thing. Let's see. Dunk contest judges sucked at giving scores, and Jacob Toppin had much better dunks than Jaylen Brown for sure. Judges kept giving Brown better scores when Toppin had better dunks. Yeah, I completely agree with all this. I felt like the judges were bad in certain ways, for sure. In some ways, I like them being so stingy, but also I felt like they were a little off on like the judging for Jaylen specifically. I think you're exactly right. Raptors freak can see what Knicks freak sees, and they stand with you and agree. They agree. Let's see. Fiercely saying trivia day coming. It's been a while. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It has been a bit for sure. Cool Cat saying, Lex, I didn't read the Grange article, but perhaps it came from there. Circular media stories. Yeah, that's part of the problem. The toxicness of it is we start pushing stories around and think that they're true and they're not. And Dennis has pushed back against these lies and been mad about it, apparently, is what I've heard. So yeah, it's circular stories passed around, rumors, and not totally true. The fans that hate Dennis are pushing this shit, and they're wanting to fill in the blanks this way, but it's not true. Dana's saying they already said Steph is going to the WNBA All Star Weekend to compete again. Good, perfect. That is perfect. He's the one who should be going anyway because he's really the real NBA 3-point champion. Fuck you, Dame Lillard. Milbester saying Scotty was great in the skills challenge. The skills challenge is way better now. A lot of stuff added in, etc. Great night for Scotty. Still can't believe 3-point contest was four-way tiebreaker. They should have just let the 4 guys just be in the last round. I felt like it was a waste of time to do the tiebreaker. Scotty was fantastic. I think that skills competition is getting better, but I think it still needs kinks to be worked out. That passing part has flaws. Definitely has flaws, for sure. The other parts are pretty good. I like the whole idea of like the shooting and passing to each other and rebounding. In some ways, they need to get a rhythm with the different spots. I really like the techniques that Scotty's team was using with Trae Young on that very far out half court shot. And then Scotty kind of bouncing from this spot. And they did a really good job with the shooting part, team all-star. But yeah, it needs a little bit more working out some of the stuff, the finer details. They could, what they need to do? They need to talk to Survivor producers. Survivor is so good at producing competitions that are very just and equal for everybody. And in some ways, the NBA needs to consult Survivor producers on how to make competitions. In some ways, that competition wasn't totally fair, the skills competition. And in some ways, they need to figure out a way to do it randomly. And so it's on the up and up, like a Survivor competition on the TV show. Because I feel like it's rigged. In some ways, you can see right through it. People watch game shows and reality shows and competitions, and they can tell when things are like favoring something, like Jaylen Brown or Indiana Pacers. So they need to get a better competitions committee to make sure that the everything's on the up and up, and it actually looks like a fair and balanced competition. Because this All-Star Saturday was not. I think every single part of it was convoluted and it was somewhat rigged, is what I'm saying. Let's see. Infamous is saying, Lex, why do you put down men to elevate women? Women can be elevated without taking cheap shots at men. I'm confused. That's not what this is. You got to understand, your perspective is like not fair. Women have been below and have been pushed down as a sex for so long that you think that equality with them is like pushing us down. No, that's not what it is, Infamous. We need to elevate them to come up. And it may feel like to you we're pushing us down. No, we're the same place. Let's not get it twisted. What are we losing when I say what I've said? This is the same thing that happens with, let's say, with minorities in society. It's like it's a white man saying, oh, why do you have to push down white men to bring up black people? It's the same thing. Think about this. Think about it this way. We're not pushing men down. We're bringing women up. The optical illusion may be that it looks like we're pushing men down to meet the women, but no, that's not what it is. They're just finally getting equity or equality. And to you, it may feel like you're pushing men down, but that's not what it is. We're just bringing them up to the same level with us. And with a history of patriarchy, misogyny, male chauvinism, bringing women up to our same level will feel like we're bringing men down. And that's not what this is. Seriously. That's not what this is, Infamous. And I could say the same thing. You could be the white person saying, why are you making white people go down to bring black people up? It's the same mechanism. And think about what I'm saying. And understand your perspective may be tainted because of long-term biased conditioning by society. That you're taught this certain way of thinking this way about the sexes. Well, when we actually do real equity and equality with women, you feel like we're bringing men down? No, that's the optical illusion. And it's the same kind of thing that happens with race. And think about it from that perspective. Milbester saying, Let's see. Brunson had such a bad start that he still scored 24 points, and the All Stars laughing. He could have had 30 points, almost a five-way tiebreaker, but four-way tiebreaker with 26 with Towns and Young. Yeah, yeah, that three-point shootout was interesting. In some ways, it was kind of dumb. Cool Cat saying Dame Lillard blocked the Toronto trade to play with Pascal, Scotty, and OG, and now he exposed his no defense badly needed on Bucks. On Raptors, we would have made up his lack of defense for his offense. Yeah, it might have been a better fit than the Bucks if Lillard had been on the Raptors with that Raptors team we had last summer. Not the one now, but the one we had at that point. It would have been very interesting. We could have covered up a lot of his deficiencies. And in some ways, his arrogance and the way he is just blinded him to that fact. In fact, I think that that's very true. Milbester saying, "Cool Cat, Lillard was never known for defense that much. He's always been a scorer first point guard. It was nice to see Jaime too in the dunk contest. Dunk contest rules were good, but need more dunkers." Yeah, in some ways, I would argue that the less dunkers is better, just because there's less losers. In some ways, is like I was saying earlier, guys don't want to do the dunk contest because if they lose, they'll look bad. And if in some ways, you have a better chance because there's only four of them. I don't know. In some ways, I get what you're saying. I don't know if the dunk contest is actually right still. I think that they fudge it and change it all the time. And sometimes they make good innovations, but a lot of times, one of the problems was that people kept missing dunks. So now they have this 90-second timer, and you can dunk until you make a dunk in that 90 seconds. Because before they were counting how many misses you made, and it was just ugly. It looked very bad quality. So in some ways, they fixed that part. Whereas like years ago, there would be so much failure in the dunk competition. You're like, oh my gosh, this is so like embarrassing. Honestly, John Collins is a plane. I disagree. I don't think the dunk contest is exactly right, but it's better than it was a couple of years ago. Let's just put it that way. Fiercely saying, remember, fam, if you get Giannis, we get Thanos too, part of the package deal. There's a lot of jokes about Giannis's brother right now. Yeah. People are saying this guy's got better job security than like Supreme Court justices. Wayne's saying, Raptor Streaks, we sometimes make a lot of demographic assumptions. Schroeder is German. I don't remember seeing any German flags. Giannis supposedly Greek support is speculative and aspirational at best. No, I believe this is true. I mean, this is the thing. A lot of these northern cities like Cleveland, Milwaukee, Chicago, some of them are metropolitan and they have diverse populations, but some of them are very they're high percentage of certain populations. Like there's a lot of Scandinavian and Norwegian in Minnesota and stuff. In Toronto, it's a lot more balanced. There is definitely a very strong Greek population here that would very much be associated with him right away. In fact, I think that Giannis has come here and been involved with the Greek community here in Toronto. It's a very, very strong community, trust me. And it's different than the Greek community of Milwaukee. Just trust me on this. It's for sure. I mean, I live south of Greek town, and I know exactly what the Danforth's like with all that. So, the German stuff with him here, there's a lot of German people here, and he probably did have a German support group here on the download that you didn't even realize. So, I mean, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised exactly who all is here in Toronto and how many different countries are represented and how much these communities have their shit together and have like very much events and things. I know that Darko stepped right into being a very prominent Serbian person in the Serbian community here in Toronto. And he's taken on responsibilities in the Serbian community outside of the Raptors already as a leader in that community here in Toronto. So let's not poo-poo this, Wayne. This is a real thing. And the demographics of Toronto being multicultural and very much celebrating the multiculturalism is different in the States where they water things down and they want everybody to become American. It's less easy to have a Greek identity in Milwaukee than it is in Toronto. Let's just put it that way. Fiercely saying 11:30 cutoff. All right. Yeah, I am coming up on 12 o'clock. We'll get done soon. Infamous saying attempts is part of the scoring with the dunk competition. Points are removed if you miss your first attempt. Now, see, they shouldn't do that. They were arguing about that in the broadcast. Like, well, is he getting marked down because he missed the first one? Well, there was no consistency with that because some guys would miss the first dunk and they got really good points for their second dunk, even with the missed first dunk. So I don't know if that was totally consistent. If it was supposed to be with the judges, well, they didn't know. but I don't think that's actually a rule. I don't think they're supposed to keep in mind that. They were debating that, the commentators, but there was no rhyme or reason to it. Sometimes it mattered that they missed their first dunk, and sometimes it didn't with the scores. So I think consistency, just like with the refs in the NBA games, they need to be more consistent with that rule in particular, because it was kind of ambiguous whether missing your first attempt did discount your score, because sometimes it didn't in that competition last night, honestly. G saying, Wayne, I'm Greek and part of the Greek kids Olympics here. Giannis is actually in touch with our organization, and we get discounted tickets for Bucks versus Raptors games. There's definitely support. See right there, G is saying that himself has interacted with Giannis in Toronto when he comes here, as far as like getting tickets for those games. So yeah, it's there. Trust me. And the thing about Toronto is these community groups and country groups are very well organized, and often they have very good support from their communities. And I'm telling you, it's here. It's for sure here. Milbester saying the only issue with dunk contests was that the judges sucked. It was new judges from before and second. 4 dunkers is too little. It needed more dunkers like past dunk contests. Rules were fine. Yeah, we'll agree to disagree. I think 4 is the right number. I think if you get too many dunkers, it takes too long. That dunk competition was probably about the right time. You know, dunk competitions in the past have been like 2 hours because you have like 8 competitors. That's a lot of time for each one of those guys. So I don't know. Maybe there's a happy medium of 6 competitors is the right number. 4 is fine with me. Yeah, the judges weren't that good. You were right. You're right. I don't know if the rules were exactly right either, though. So we're going to disagree just a little bit, Milbester. How about that? Mischief's got my cutoff. I love it. Have a great long weekend, Raptor Freaks and Lex. I appreciate that, Jay. Wayne's saying, good to hear, G. That's fabulous to hear. Yeah. I mean, I'm Estonian. And Estonia is such a small community in Europe. In fact, a lot of y'all would be like, what is Estonia? I've never heard of that country. Well, it's one of the 3 Baltics with Lithuania and Latvia. And we have a vibrant Estonian community here in Toronto. We have our own bank. We have our own community house. We have a banquet hall. We have all kinds of shit here. We have our own bakery that makes the own rye bread that comes from Estonia. You know, that not every city in the North America has an Estonian community like we do here. And if we have an Estonian community here, well, they have a Greek community. Trust me. They do. Trust me. Carlos saying they should invite the best dunkers in the world and the winner gets $1 million. That would be fun. I kind of like that idea. You know, get anybody from anywhere, EuroLeagues, college. You know, you can bring college guys up and let them be involved in it. I don't know. In some ways, to make it a slam dunk invitational and anybody can come and be in it. That's an interesting idea. It's not totally NBA, and there's probably legalities with payments and insurance and all kinds of stuff that would be a headache for them that they wouldn't want to do it. But that's an interesting idea, Carlo. I think that's very interesting. Milbester's saying Steph and Sabrina contest was awesome, though. I really thought Sabrina was going to win, but Curry got 29 points to her 26. It was great, and 55 went to charity. A 1K per shot made from both. Do you like the Liberty, Milbester? Do you follow the WNBA? And Sabrina is somebody you like and you follow? That's an interesting question for me. You know, they fixed it. Whoever's going to go last was going to win that. If they let Steph go first and Sabrina went second, she would have won that competition. It's as simple as like when you have a target, you know, you have to gauge. Well, shooters like that can work within that parameters. So in some ways, it's like a cakewalk for Steph. He knew exactly how much he had to beat, and that's an unfair advantage. The whole night of Saturday night was predicted by whoever went last. Whoever went last in each competition, Milbester won. Did you notice that? Indiana Pacers went last. They won. Dame Lillard went last in the shootout and the 3-point shootout. He won. Steph Curry went after Sabrina. He won. Mac McClung went last in the dunk competition. He won. So this is NBA script writing. Whoever goes last is going to win. So Steph knew what target to shoot for. He's going to beat Sabrina. But if you flip that and you put the Sabrina after him, she might have beaten him because she would have known what target to shoot for. And that's the unfair advantage of that. In some ways, they should be shooting at the same time so nobody can see what other person's doing. They should just shoot at the other ends of the court from each other. That would have been smarter, honestly. That's the way they can rig 3-point shootouts is who you go ahead and see what you got to shoot for because your opponent already went. Well, you can tailor it to win. That's how it works. Wayne's saying, how about a section of the NBA festivities geared towards the referees? I like this. I like this. Maybe they get them to do the skills challenge. Like maybe they make them dribble around cones and pass and shoot. Maybe they have like the refs have a 3-point shootout. That would be goofy. I don't know. Maybe they have a refs talent show. Like we read the ref report every day. We hear all the great talents of the refs. Maybe we have them come out. Murat Kugat magician show comes out and does some magic tricks. And then we see Josh Tiven doing his yo-yo. I don't know. That may be fun. Maybe that'll make people like the refs more because we see them having talents and makes them more personable. I think this is hilarious, Wayne. I'm going to give you a dunk for this because honestly, I can extrapolate into like all kinds of craziness with an NBA referee talent show. That actually would be kind of very entertaining, honestly. I think that would be so fun. In some ways, people would know the refs better, and I don't know if they want that. Carlos saying so many good and innovative dunkers out there. Are there? Where are they? I don't know. I'm starved for like new dunks. I've seen Mac McClung do a new dunk that I'd never seen before last night, but everything else last night was something I'd seen before. Milbester saying that last dunk contest that was good was the one with Aaron Gordon and Terrence Ross. You mean Aaron Gordon and not Terrence Ross? Whatchamacallit for the Bulls? Zach LaVine, 2016 contest. Yeah, that was in Toronto. That was Toronto All-Star Weekend. The last good dunk contest between Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine. Yeah, and I believe that. And that was before that. It was Dwight Howard and Nate Robinson. Yeah. I mean, that's not bad. That's not bad. I think that our dunk contest was the last good dunk contest for sure. The one here in Toronto for our All-Star Weekend in 2016. Yeah, and that was Gordon and LaVine. Yeah. Cool Cat saying Lex is right about different communities of different cultures. Every Raptors player talked about finding their heritage, background, culture when they came to Toronto. Yeah. I mean, Siakam loves being able to get Cameroonian stuff here, and he can. And that's not the case in Indiana, I'll bet. I'll bet you money. In Indianapolis, he's not going to be able to find the same stuff he was finding here. I'll bet you money. Milbester saying dunk contest rule was 3 dunks in 90 seconds, and if no dunk is made within the time frame, you get 1 extra dunk attempt. It used to be 2 minutes per dunker, and they did fix the issues. That was long. Yeah, it was annoying. And Milbester saying, yeah, I do follow the WNBA and the Liberty. They were great this season and almost won the finals, but they lost to the Aces. They went back to back titles. Sabrina's amazing for the Liberty. I love that you support and follow the Liberty. I wish our team had a WNBA team, but our ownership is stupid. And you're lucky that you've got WNBA, honestly. I wish I had a team to root for here. Sabrina is such a great 3-point shooter for us, but Liberty has such a deep team of players. Brianna Stewart is good too. Laney. Liberty was such a good team. Maybe they win this season. The Aces are stacked, and they're very difficult to beat. Becky Hammond is the ultimate competitor. Well, yeah, I wish y'all luck. In some ways, I don't like total dynasties, and the Aces have won 2 in a row. Every single year they've been around, I think they've won. So, yeah, y'all go beat them. I'll root for y'all, Liberty. All right, let me do the wrap-up. Today is All-Star Sunday. There's a game at 8 o'clock. It's the 73rd NBA All-Star game between the East and the West. Our guy, Scotty Barnes, is going to be playing in this game. Hopefully, he'll look really good, make the franchise look good. The ref crew for the All-Star game is Tony Brothers, Josh Tiven, and Derek Collins. Scotty looked great in the skills competition yesterday. I'm really proud of what he did. I felt like he did a very, very good job representing the Raptors on All-Star Saturday. All right, y'all. I appreciate everybody watching me today. I hope you've been enjoying my stream. Maybe a little bit better than the All-Star weekend. Maybe not. Milbester, I don't want to read any more about the Liberty right now. I'm just going to get out of here. I appreciate y'all. I'll be back tomorrow with my reaction to the All-Star game tomorrow and what happens with Scotty and everything like that. All right, y'all. Let's let women have equality. And it may seem like it's something weird when it happens or it's like taking us down a peg. That's not true. Let's not follow pundits like Jordan Peterson. They're idiots. If y'all really feel like the white male is under attack in today's society, well, you know what? White males, we're starting to feel like how everybody else has been made to feel throughout the history of time. So get over ourselves and let's just get with the program. Equality means equality. And if it means we get a little more on the same equal playing ground, well, that's just part of the effect. And in some ways, it shouldn't be something where you're afraid or things are taken away from you or anything like that. Or is it some sort of power play? It's like, oh, I need to have people feeling beneath me. Is if I don't feel like people are beneath me, I don't feel good. Well, that's the whole effect here. Do you need somebody that you have to feel like you're above? Because when equality happens, it can feel like you're coming down. It's just somebody's coming up to your level. That's all it is right there. I love you guys and I appreciate y'all. And yeah, let's stay woke, let's stay progressive, and let's stay up to date on women's issues. And if we're really going to talk about equality, let's let them have equality. I think that's the message about what happened last night. Let's let them play equally and let them win on their own merits. And let's let it have an equal playing field. That's all we're asking for. That's all we're asking for. All right, y'all. Cool cat. Enjoy your weekend too. Happy Family Day, y'all. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share, and join if you feel like it. And I appreciate everybody for patronizing my channel, being a patron. And as I said, if y'all are interested, sign up for the Raptors open house, coaches open house, and come with me. We'll go together as friends, and we'll sit and we'll listen to our coaches talk, and we'll see the Raptors practice in a close practice. I highly ask anybody who's interested to do this March the 19th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's a Tuesday. I know it's not the best day of the week, but if you can get free and can come down there to do that and hang out with me, I'm sure it's going to be a once in a lifetime experience. Being able to go down and see a Raptors closed practice with nobody can see. They're not allowed to film anything. You'll see the entire team, and we'll see how Darko practices this team. And in some ways, it'll be interesting for me to contextualize it and contrast it to what I saw with Nick and how he ran the open coach's house last year. The practice would look way different. Will Darko actually be the one running the practice instead of Nate Bjorngren for Nick Nurse, who just stood to the side and just kind of stood there? And I mean, that looks fishy as fuck since how everything went down. But yeah, I'll be curious to see the differences between a Darko run open coach's house and a Nick Nurse run one. And I would ask y'all to join. It's free. Just find it online, look it up, and register for it, and let me know, and we'll make arrangements to meet outside and sit together at that event, March 19th. It's going to be awesome. All right, y'all. I appreciate every one of you. Let's go, Scotty. Let's make our team look good. The Raptors and the city of Toronto look real, real good. Scotty is our representative in the All-Star game tonight. You go, Scott. We're so proud of you, man. You keep being you, man. You're awesome.